That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
All right, everybody. I'm coming. I figured today I'd be a floating head based on the humor of one of my favorite sponsors who happened to get me a t-shirt for her company called Bravo Zulu Ball Pythons. And she sent it with a note that said, have fun with the shirt. Now, I didn't know what she meant by that until I opened the bag and realized it was a green shirt for the green screen. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Eileen. I appreciate you very much. And I'll be a floating head for just a few minutes until the air conditioner catches up and I can put my hoodie on because I forgot my other shirt that I was going to wear in place of this one. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. I'm excited to make up for 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry for having canceled out on the Jason Hood episode a couple weeks ago during all of the hubbub. I had some serious thing happen and, we don't have to get into details. But, I'm here and I'm with Jason Hood. So he thankfully accepted my invite back. All right. So while you guys stack up here in the chat room, I will go ahead and run through the sponsors. I reached out to Reptiles to you for a new coupon code, and I'm waiting to hear back, but I reached out just yesterday. So I don't expect to hear back anytime immediately in the next day or two, just because it's midweek and shipping time, and the weather has been fair across the United States. So I imagine you all are shipping, even though you need to still be careful about the weather, the winter, and all that. I'm sure it's cold in cold places, but I know it hasn't been horrible down here in the last week or so. So I'm sure shipping is going wild. Reptiles to You is my favorite shipper. They are who I've used for the last few years throughout the pandemic situation. And I've been very happy with how they've handled every single time that they fucked up. And that has been many, unfortunately, in the last bit of time. It's very sad that it has gotten so bad with FedEx. Now, it has gotten a little bit better, but, not perfect. So check out Reptiles to You for a great agent. All right, Morph Market. I was just talking to Jason Hood. He doesn't have a Morph Market account yet because he hasn't needed it. And that's kind of nice. So maybe he can give me some tips on how to sell non-balls, because Morph Market is kind of stale for me on non-balls right now. But I think you should still check out Morph Market if you're looking for one of many, many, many groups of species, 41 categories now. And then there's so many subcategories within those categories. So it really gets wild. I hate that fucking Google noise, man. Now that I'm using this Google screen, of course, I can't get my Google alerts to shut the hell up. Anybody knows how to do that, tell me how. All right, C-SERPENTS. There you go. C-SERPENTS, 4-week turnaround time, still at that 4-week time. But check out my boy. And let me go. I got to remember, I got to switch these tabs on this new StreamYard function. So C-SERPENTS, check out my boy Chris for rack systems, incubators, and accessories and such. And his show schedule. Of course, he'll be seeing you in Arlington this weekend coming up. I won't be seeing you, but I will be here Friday for a show. So that'll be fun. All right, Exotics by Nature. That's me. I think we still have 180 listings. We added some stuff, not very many. We added a few sand boas to the list this week. I think that's what we added. Yes, we did. We added a few Kenyan sand boas. If anybody's looking for any sand boas, these are some new up on the list this week. I don't know why this one's blurred out like that. It might be in the I gotta check it out. Anyway, check it out. usarc.org. Check them out. Join the list. write some letters and such. Get ready for your signages. I've been cutting oak signs. I cut this new wood called blonde wood, and the fucked up thing is it's so light, it actually shows the smoke from the laser in the grain. Like the grain picks up the smoke gray. So I won't be using that one. But oak has been cut for, I believe PCF Funny Royals wanted an oak one. So I cut you an oak one, PCF. And then there's one more that I think I might send the bad one to PCF and see if he'll just paint over it and hang it, because I made a little error on one of them. And then, or maybe if the other one's good, I'll check it and I'll send you the good one and I'll hang the bad one as an example. But check out usarc.org and soon to be the signs that will be selling through my business and donating $40 per sign to USARC. So trying to do everything I can to get back in the good graces of the world and donate as much as I can to USARC. So, all right, new sponsor this week, Eclectic Tattoo Collective. So this is actually Ricky Savage. This is his new tattoo business, tattoo and piercing shop. And of course, Ricky, you need to put on the page, you need to put on here that the address, right? You need to like put the fucking city and everything on the Tattoo Collective's main page, or give us a link tree with all this data. You know, if you're watching, bro, this is your assignment for the week with your new tattoo shop. I know you have enough to do, but man, it looks like they do pretty fucking good work over there, wherever it is. It's at 1900 something, you know, it's the best I could do. But, you know, they're a sponsor of the Bullshit Podcast, and I'm going to be making them some coffin-shaped ink bottle holders for their tattoo shop. So that sounds pretty cool. All right. Well, that's the newest sponsor, Bravo Zulu, the sponsor of today's Floating Head episode. Thank you very much, Eileen, for being awesome. Jim, thank you very much for standing by and giving me all the input that you care to give. And I always appreciate you as a sponsor. Oop, hang on. Here we go. Infinite Possible. God, I got to do this every time. It's such a bad reflex. Infinite Possible Pythons. You're now the sponsor of several podcasts. So if I forget to click tabs for you and keep it very unprofessional, I understand when you ditch me. But anyway, Nathan's been a great sponsor. Thank you again, Nathan, for doing that. John Woodruff. Awesomeness, man. He's counting down until the Breeders' Conference. He's counting down. He can't wait until Tinley Park to see everyone there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to Tinley Park either, but who knows? But that's John Woodruff from MADRIVER. Thank you a lot for sponsoring. Reptile Collective, another collective. Now that we have the Eclectic Tattoo Collective, we have Reptile Collective, or we've had Reptile Collective. Ooh, what is this? What the fuck is that, son? Hybrids? Those look hybrids. Oh, come on. Jessica's going to be like, not real. Not real. Those are rat snake hybrids, I'm assuming. I guess. White side of rat snakes. I don't know. Anyway, they're fucking kind of cool, even though I'm more of a corn snake purist. But I think even the corn snakes might not be for real. My goal is now to hatch a two-headed scaleless corn snake that we can keep alive. I hope that we can do that in the future. Goals, right? Hashtag goals. Savage Constrictors. I thought they were out, but they're in. Floating Head and Floating Arms. They're in with a renewal of the Bullshit Podcast sponsorship. So sorry, whoever was thinking there might be a vacancy, because there now is not. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. And finally, Josh Strange, who said to me some crazy shit that was like, if you get a certain person with certain initials P and K on the show, I'll sponsor you forever. Something like that. I don't know. That hopefully that didn't go to wasteland. Anyway, thank you a lot for sponsoring the show, Josh. You are awesome. I absolutely love having you around. And Jason Hood, he has a Snakes Unlimited _ Jason Hood page. And I want you guys who's watching this to jump on the Instagram while you're watching this podcast and while you're in the chat chatting with us throughout this, and look at the many species the dude works with and drum up some decent questions that we can hit that may not have been hit on any of his Morelia Python radio spots that I have not listened to. Not one of them, not 1 second of one of them. So as unprepared as I am, I would like you all to help me out and guide this gentleman, because I will just sit there and talk to him about every other thing, including his new cages his new old stock cages that he just put in. So let's welcome him on the screen here, Mr. Jason Hood. How are you tonight, sir?
Good, man.
You're
Thanks
good.
for having me on.
Oh, thanks for being on. Something somewhat ball python entitled, but not at all ball python subjected. Tonight, at least, we won't subject you to any Python Regius torture. So you're doing all right now that you've got a computer that's working?
Yeah, the other one just completely gave up. I've been watching it die during your intro.
Good, bro. It's all good. I'm sorry to hear that. And, they do die. Eventually, they do die. So let me go through my people that are in here. There's not very many of them in here yet, but I'm sure we'll get them together here tonight. But Will's Hella Heat's probably been in here for a while. What a long day. I just hope I don't pass out before this starts. Well, if you do pass out, Will, catch it on the rerun. I don't really mind so much the reruns, but I want you guys on the reruns to still leave comments below. Please leave comments below, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. CRM Reptiles, thanks a lot, man, for coming up. Quirky Snakes, thanks for coming in. Strange Creations, thanks for sponsoring. Serpentine, good to see you. PCF Funny Royals, let's chat about that shipping address and all that stuff for that sign, bro. If you want to paint it yourself, it's ready to go. You want me to paint it? I might try it, dude. I'm turning my ball python incubator into a paint booth. The old ball python incubator, man. Jason Hood, I am turning it into a paint booth because I can't figure out what the fuck else to do with this room that's perfect for a paint booth. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing, to paint signs like US ARC signs, and like this sign that I hope to do a lot good reading tonight that says do not interrupt. So signs like this, signs that could say Jason Hood Snakes Unlimited in his collection or something. That let me know if I can do anything for you, bro.
All right, man.
I'm doing all kind of fun stuff like that. All right, Serpentine, I already announced you. Sea of Serpents, good to have you on. Let's see. While I'm doing this, I'm going to ticker on the Patreon because I'm so casual about this stuff. Elite Exotics, good to see you. Texas Kid, good stuff. Small Town Exotics says first and definitely not last. I can give you that much. Low Life, Hold Back Rack. Have you heard of this podcast, Jason?
Yeah, well, we had Matt on, and you invited us over. Yeah. It's everything ball python is foreign to me. So,
well,
the title
Hold Back Rack podcast is the two ladies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant yours.
Yeah, no, not on mine, but on this one. Have you heard of this one? Have you heard of the Hold Back Rack podcast yet?
Have not.
Okay, well, they are coming up, bro, and I got to tell you, it's amazing. You've got two, and now if I said housewife, and Jana was like, hey, because she's not a housewife anymore. Well, but it hits that same target. If I said middle-aged woman, they'd say, hey. So what do I say, bro? How do I say it? They're not young girls. They're not old women. They're not menopausal at all. They're south of that. I'm trying to be sweet, right? I'm trying to abide by my opening warning, right?
How about experienced female keepers?
Experienced female keepers, except for one of them has just started keeping ball pythons at the beginning of COVID, bro. But the other one, the one that's actually posting as the Whole Back Rack podcast right now, Jessica Hare, is expert. So if they ask you to come on their podcast, bro, do it, because it is going to be an experience that I think you will enjoy. And I think you will absolutely cherish the fact that they say cunt more than me and all that type of stuff. So yeah. You can't miss it, bro. It's really a whole back rack capable podcast. It's worth listening to while you're cleaning and feeding and stuff. So definitely check them out. 4S's, he knows what the whole back rack's all about. Red Line, man, this Red Line name gets thrown around everywhere. You guys are just does that have to be trademarked now? What happened with that? Who won the trademark, Mike? You or Robin or what? How'd that work out? Jamie, good to see you. Lucas London, good to see you. I'm going to go a few more. Rodriguez. Who else we got in here that's fun? The same old titles going. Becca, good to have you. A sponsor here. No piercings. No piercings at the tattoo shop. It's a tattoo shop. It's the Tattoo Collective. It's not the tattoo and punch holes in your fucking lip collective. They don't want that crusty shit around there. Ugh. The eyelid one that's got the extra crystals around it, those special crystals. Ugh, that's so gross. Ugh. All right. Who else? Lori Gray. We're going to end it at that. Okay. Two hot women who rock the podcast. I'm with that. I'm fine with that, but I can't say that. You can say that. You can say that. And I got to tell you, every time I see your name pop up, Lori, I think of Lori that's with Sean Gray. And I think, oh, she finally took his last name. And then I click on the thing and it's you. But I don't mean that negatively. I just mean that, that I know you, but I don't know you. So, all right, Jason. What else have you done? What other podcasts have you done, bro? Morelia Python Radio, you said a bunch of those spots?
Yeah, I've done a few of their offshoots as well. Snakes and Stogies and can't think of the name of it. I've done a few. Every year every time I have a big year, I get a run of a few podcasts hit me up to want to talk about blackheads or tiger rats or whatever, and then I go back into my little hole and deal with the snakes again for a year or two. I seem to hit like 6 or 8 a year, and then I take 2 years off, and then another run at it.
Well, then people are like, "Oh yeah, there's that Jason guy."
Yeah.
And now you've got everybody with a reptile podcast to a point where Snakes and the Fat Man is doing a giveaway for shitty sounding podcasts. All about all about the situation, in the world today with reptile people, that everybody has a podcast or is recording a podcast. And so he's giving away, I'm assuming, some of his older gear that he's not using, unless he did go out and buy gear just for that reason. But some of his older gear that he's not using, to give away to where he can make these people sound better. So who knows, man? I mean, it seems like everybody's using it as a business card these days. So I'm sure they'll come out of the woodwork to ask you to to guest on their show. But if the Holdback Rack asks you, I'd really like you to consider it, because I think it'd be a fresh approach for you. I really do. And Jessica's very, very colubrid oriented, so this Friday, for all the Ballsh listeners, it seems like I'm going to be on their podcast, I believe. So I'll be on their podcast about corn snake history. So, all right. Having said that, I'm going to let Jason Hood talk really quickly about when he started in the whole hobby and game. I'm sure it was a childhood thing, unless he just caught the bug. It's like no, I don't think so. It was a childhood thing. Talk to me about it. Tell me where it started. I'm going to go right off camera while you roll and put this hoodie on, so I don't have to be a floating head anymore, because I'm making myself
sounds
sick.
Good, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Seriously, he freezes just as I go to roll away. That's fucking crazy. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, there you go. All right, now go. All right, let's try that again. All right, yeah. See, I didn't do that, really. It was a fucking crazy coincidence. As soon as I hit mute, you froze. All right, there you go.
I started with a corn snake, like probably a ton of people. Got a bearded dragon, got a rainbow boa, bounced around a bit between Florida and New England, and just started from there. And then once I ended up with a pair of corn snakes, I bred them, produced a few clutches with them, got a few more, started talking with Kathy Love, and ended up buying some of her Everglades rat snakes that she had back in the day. And she started advertising for me because she got out of them. So every time people would contact Kathy looking for Everglades, she'd send them my way, which ended up making a great. Kathy's just one of the nicest people on the planet.
I agree.
To begin with.
I agree.
And then with her advertising for me, basically, I ended up.
Oh yeah, you were as good as
sales.
You were fucking done. Yeah, you were done. Like you didn't have to. You didn't have to have validation, right? Your validation.
Yeah, well, it was like almost like having a podcast nowadays. It just was instantly popular.
No. It was almost like having a podcast with over 1,000 subscribers and very amazing guests, which I have very amazing guests, but I don't have over 1,000 subscribers. So that's a problem here. But I would like to, address the fact that I assumed that you did buy new stuff, but I wanted to see if you were listening. And now I know exactly how to get you to crawl out and make comments on my podcast. Thank you, Chris, for listening in. I never mean insults to you, bro. It's all in good fun. Have fun with me on your own show, all you want. All right. So, yeah, Jamie even piped up. Of course he went and bought new gear, dude. How do you know he doesn't just save the boxes? I have all of my Oculus boxes in the corner because who buys an Oculus in a wheelchair? Like, never, I mean, really, like some games work, but the rest of it sucks. All right. So there it is. All right. So Kathy Love is your endorser in your early career.
Yeah.
That's a fucking godsend in a lot of ways. So
Yeah, no,
I
that
agree.
was my goal, was just to be able to make it to Daytona to vend with enough animals, and then the problem there became just getting the animals to hatch out in time.
So
And then
what year was that you bred your first stuff?
early 2000s.
Okay, so Daytona was the show then. Had you ever been to the Orlando one?
No, I missed the Orlando ones.
Ah, okay.
So the first one, I think, was the first year in Daytona.
Yeah, 2000 was the first year. Yeah, 2000.
Yeah, then I don't know, one of the first couple years I was there was the year that he had Mark O'Shea there, and he had a whole aisle cleared out just for the line of people to wait for Mark O'Shea.
Yeah.
But my dumbass didn't even notice that there was a line or anything else. And if you ever talk to Mark, if you just go up and start talking to him about field herping, he'll talk to you all
that
day
was
long.
it. He was colorful. Unless you were giving him a drink, and then he would drink. Then he would probably suck the drink down first. But then, yeah, he would talk about field herping.
But I walked up to him and I started talking to him, not knowing there was a mile-long line of people waiting to talk to him. That was like right at the height of O'Shea's big adventure.
Right.
And that was, I think, the year Wayne had the
Venomous.
Segway.
Oh, yeah, the way that he had the Segway. Okay, now Wayne's story. Did you see him?
Well, hold on. I'm standing there talking to him, and you know how tall I am.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I feel a head over my shoulder, and I turn and I look, and it's Wayne, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Wayne Hill. Who the fuck are you?" I'm like, "Hi, I'm Jason Hood." He's like, "Good. Why don't you take Jason Hood to the end of the fucking line?" It's like, what? There's a lot. What?
Hi. How are you?
Yeah.
How are you? Why don't you take your ass to the end of the line?
Yeah.
That's my Wayne impression. Everybody keeps asking me to do a Wayne impression, so they're going to ask me to do it if we talk too much about Wayne. So yeah, I absolutely understand that. You take your, like, you were scolded by the man at the show on your very first experience.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
to just run up on Mark O'Shea. But I will give you this. In your honor, as he was leaving out of the hotel to come across the street at one point during that weekend, as we all stood there, the Segway bit the curb and he literally like went forward and like had to jump off to say and like save himself from face planting. And everyone was watching, but no one laughed. It was like if Obama like slipped on a banana peel on the floor and broke, like no one would laugh. Everybody would be like, dude, whoever laughs is going to jail forever because the president just slipped on on a banana peel and he's the most loved president ever. That's why I said Obama, because in the last few years, he's got the most love. If Donald Trump had fell, half of America would have been like, woo! You know, if God knows what the new guy would have fallen, who knows what have been cheering on. But yeah, anyway, that was my reason for pulling that one. But yeah, dude, seriously, he almost face planted and no one made a sound. But if anybody else would have done that, somebody would have laughed, somebody would have clapped, somebody would have done something. But everyone was afraid of losing their tables, right? Like everybody was like, bro, the wait list is so long. He'll just put me at the back of the building, right? Because I got to tell you, seriously, the very first year I vended was the year before you went, was when Orlando, that year that I was in that show. And I've shown myself, you saw me on Facebook at that show.
Yeah.
I'll be straight with you, dude. That show is when, no, that was that show. We were in the very back room and our neighbor was Robin Markland representing Pro Exotics in the very back room of Beginners, bro. Beginners. And the reason why was that at the fucking last show, Chad Brown promised Wayne an autographed jersey and a ball and never delivered it. And when we rolled in, Chad came in the room with Robin on Friday setup day and rolled in and was like, Wayne, where are my tables? Because they were used to be like Tracy Barker was on one side of the door, Don Hamper and Tom Crutchfield were across, and then he had the other corner across from Tracy Barker, and that was Pro Exotics. And he's like, dude, where are my tables? And this guy was like, bro, y'all are all the way in the back room by the newbies. And Chad was like, Wayne, what the hell? Like that. And whatever he said, I don't really know what he said, but Wayne, he said, where are my tables? And Wayne turned around and said, where's my jersey and my ball? And was like, forgot, right? Oh, well, I forgot too. You're in the back. You're here. You got tables. And literally they sold almost nothing, bro. Like I bought shit from that, from Robin. That was when Robin and I bonded that weekend was, you know, I bought stuff. I bought like, dude, Chinese cave geckos from them for like fucking $40. You know, and like all captive bred shit because he couldn't sell anything. He's like, dude, if I go home with all this shit, Chad's gonna be so fucking mad. So I was like, all right, we sold our whole display. So fuck it. We bought a bunch of shit. But yeah, dude, that was it. You crossed Wayne the wrong way. And I don't know. So I don't know if my impression's getting me anywhere. I hope it's flattery. Like, I hope I can just like joke with him about it. Because I know one of you assholes is going to tell him.
Wayne's watching internet.
No, but one of these assholes is going to tell him. One of these assholes is going to be like, but Wayne, look what he did. I got it on my phone. Look, let me show you so I can have his table. Like, dude, somebody's going to do it. You know, somebody's going to fucking do it. Yes, and Pro Exotic. Colin Schumark's all the way down from Australia, bro. He catches and releases and breeds a bunch of Anthoracias as well as some other shit down in Aussie. And yeah, Pro Exotics is the one that had a great ball of fire. Yes, they did have a great ball of fire that ate up all of the albino Savannah monitors at the time too, which is really sad. That was my like, oh, for that fire. Like there was a lot of awes, I know, but like there was one gem in there that was like, fuck, that was lost. But I saw classic, some
what the shit, Dwayne.
Yeah, and the fucking what the shit, Dwayne t-shirt. That was fucking great. Do you have one? Because I don't. I wish I
think
did.
I do somewhere.
Damn, if you do, that's a collector's item from hell, man. I mean, back when Facebook only let you like posts and that was it, was a thumbs up like. And so Dwayne hit the like, the only person to hit the like, right? Like nobody did. And everybody avoided hitting the like button. But he was like, fuck yeah, I saw this. And nobody else let him forget it, bro. Nobody else let him forget it, guy. So for those of you fuckers that don't know what we're talking about, Pro Exotics had a great ball of fire and burned the whole fucking thing down. And it was posted on Facebook. Pro Exotics is burning down right now. And everyone could go to it. And the like button was the only button. There was no hearts. There was no sad. There was no caring. There was no caring before the pandemic, but nobody gave a fuck about you on Facebook before the pandemic. Now everybody cares. Oh man, but there was none of that shit. It was just a like, folks. And Dwayne, whoever the fuck you were, hit the like. And so somebody made a t-shirt of the post, Pro Exotics is burning, and Dwayne's like, and it said, what the fuck, Dwayne?
So, no, I think it was, I think Robin wrote, what the shit, Dwayne?
Oh, what the shit, Dwayne, in the comments. Is that what it was? In the comments or whatever. It was great. It was absolutely wonderful. But yeah, it was a fucking sad day, man. A lot of awesome animals died in that. Yeah, somebody did make that t-shirt, bro. I know the chat's a little lacked, but yeah, a little slow. Smash the like button and the sub button. And you know, oh man, look, Derek's freaking crazy. Go to Derek's Reptiles if you're a PETA member and get eaten by an alligator. No, that's all right, man. If you're a PETA member, come here. Come on over here. My kid's mother, Jason Hood, was a PETA active member when she moved into my life and lived off of the exploitation of animals for years. I can convert now. I used to think she was undercover, right? Like she got pregnant with our first kid and I in the hospital giving birth. I was like, listen, I know you're going through this to be undercover with fucking PETA. I know you motherfuckers will go through some horrible shit. Are you sure you're not undercover right now? Like a pregnancy pains of giving birth. Are you sure? Yeah, no, she wasn't undercover. At least, no, I can.
You don't know, man. It might be a long, the long burn. She might be like the feds.
No, they're like all of them, dude. When it's cool, they are. When it's not cool, they're not. Right? I'm vegan when I live on the West Coast, but when there's good burgers, I'll try one. Right? Like that's it. When there's good barbecue, I'll try that rib. You know, they're not like going to barbecue joints eating the fucking coleslaw with no mayonnaise in it. You know what I mean? They're all going to be traitors. And you've never struck me as a non-meat eating motherfucker. You've always been that very
No, man,
know.
I grill the hell out of some good chicken over here.
Yeah, I saw on the Instagram page of you rotisserieing some massive amount of something. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
My buddy came by and he had a vegetarian with him, and I sent him out with. They didn't have time to stop. He's making a turn and burn trip down south and back to North Carolina. So, and I threw some chicken on for him because my wife's Peruvian. They make a chicken pollo brasa. So I had the marinated chicken all hooked up. And I'm like, you guys staying for lunch? You're like, no, we got to go. I'm like, here, just take it for the road. He calls me 15 minutes down the road. He's like, the vegetarian's eating chicken right now. This chicken's so fucking good.
Yeah, that's
what the
right,
fuck
dude.
did you do, man?
What did you do? What did you do? What are you cooking? What are you cooking? Oh, you cooking an egg?
Yeah.
I see. Here he goes. Look at it. There it is. Cooking in an egg.
That was a standing rib roast right there, buddy.
Yeah, did you do that at Christmas?
Yeah.
That looks good. How'd it come out?
It was good.
Came out amazing. Is that coal under there or wood under there?
Charcoal,
Cool.
some wood under.
I'm a pussy, bro. I'm a fucking pellet smoker pussy. I grill from my phone, dude. I totally grill from my phone.
I was grilling from my couch and it got a little overcooked, I'll be honest, but it was still delicious.
You know what I did? I did a standing rib roast for Christmas also in one of those new countertop air fryers just to see. And it was actually great.
Yeah.
It was actually very impressive. So yeah, good to know that you're a meat eating guy. I mean, like I said, you always have been, and you've always been the one to tell me when we see each other at shows, like, when are you going to get something cool? It's not a ball python. So let's start down that road. Everglades rat snake, you were a supplying breeder to, endorsed by Kathy Love that you just touched on. And Everglades rat snake was not really a very common rat snake at all for anyone to ever really desire, in my opinion. Like,
they're amazing though. I
agree.
I had the hypos and they were 6 foot long, solid orange with some faint stripes, and I had them in a this is before I got stupid and went towards racks, and then now I'm going back to cages again. But I mean, I've always been in cages for my bigger stuff, but them I had in a 5 foot tall, 4 wide, 2 deep cage, and they were just amazing. I love those things. But yeah, they're an uncommon species for whatever reason, but everybody that has them is just loves them. They're a little bit of an asshole, but not too bad.
So that was my experience, was in the 90s with animals that were more than likely wild caught that came from Crutchfield's op. And they were not fun. Like, they weren't Texas rat snake mean, I don't think. They definitely weren't stinking goddess mean back. You know what I mean? Because like my pet store would do shit like that. Like, she would just be like, oh, stinking goddess, that sounds cool. And and I'd be like, well, no, wait a minute, please, no, And she's like, Sean, you see that big smelly pile of shit in the back of that stinking goddess's cage? Yes. Would you clean that? Yes. Right. Come out just bleeding with little marks all in me, smelling like a fucking ass end of an anchovy. Ugh.
The good old days.
The good old days, stinking goddess for a reason. I mean, I like the name Chinese king rat snake, but Tom Crutchfield should have just called it that on the fucking price list, not stinking goddess.
Yeah.
Even though we both know that the second name is probably more accurate. The stinking name is probably much more accurate to the species. But yeah, so Everglades were not the best in my experience, but to hear that you were doing them then, that's an interesting time period. I gotta say, I stuck my head in the ball python sand right about then.
That was a little bit before the ball pythons, because that was I was doing fairly well, killing out a ton of corn snakes and a bunch of melks and king snakes. And right about that time, I did a show. Guy next to me was telling me about this new ball python thing coming around, and he had a lead on you want to go in with me on an import of, it was like 1,000 ball pythons at $3 a piece. And I'm like, dude, yeah. I'm not interested. I just don't. It's not in me.
Right.
He's like,
well, you got 1,000 normals. I mean,
we'll be able to flip them next day for $6 each. I'm like, I'm not interested. And sure enough, he flipped them for $6 each. He came back and like, hey, we're doing another buy. You want to get in on this one? They're going to be $5 each. I'm like, we're going to flip them for at least 10. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I mean, the guy kept doing it.
I can
But
tell you that Pro Exotics post from 2006 to whatever, or 5 on their website that says, we feel the ball python game has passed us by and we don't want to be, we feel it's too late to chase it, and that it, we're just not going to be further involved in the chasing of the ball python game. And then, of course, we look at it now and everybody's like, what the fuck? Of course, even though they made a lot of money on shipping. And they're still making, both of them are still making money.
Ironically, the house I live in right now is about 1.5 miles from one of 2 ball pythons I found right before a road. I used to go road cruise all the time back then. And now I live 1.5 miles from it. And I've been down it twice since I moved 2 years ago. But right before that, there was a trailer, and the trailer, like, the people moved out, and right around the time they moved out, I found this giant 5.5, almost 6 foot long female ball in the middle of the road. Snatched it up, brought it home, threw it in a 55-gallon aquarium. The thing did awesome for me. And some guy offered me a couple $100 for it, and I didn't really care. So I sold it to him. And probably, I don't know, a month later, I found a second equally large, but slightly smaller, like 5.5 foot ball python.
Huh.
Same thing. It was like arboreal. I actually like those 2 ball pythons. I like, because I put them into a big 55-gallon that I had set up for corn snakes, and they were cruising around on all the branches and basking underneath the heat and everything else, and they were doing great for me
because they'd been outside for so long doing that. So
no, I think the people that were the house that was right there, I think, turned them loose, because it was right next to where this trailer was. And that all that's left now is a chimney. There's from where a fireplace was.
It's just rotted away.
But the it was just, it's weird for me to think 20 years ago I was finding ball pythons right down the road, and I can't even find, all I find now is black racers. I can't find anything in my area right now.
Where are you exactly?
Fellsmere, Florida.
Okay. And then what's the greater area? What's that close to?
Indian River County, Sebastian Inlet's the famous thing around here. I'm actually north of most of the invasive. There's like a line of temperature or whatever down in like Stewart area.
What coastal town are you parallel to? Would you say?
I'm on the East Coast, Sebastian Inlet, south of Melbourne.
You're on the East Coast. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like
hour
45 south of Daytona.
Gotcha.
But where I'm at's north of the most of the invasive lines, like the cane toads don't make it up here.
Oh yeah. No, you don't get much there because it gets fairly cold still. So
so we don't see a lot of the craziness up here, unfortunately. Well, fortunately,
not yet. You might see like Vale chameleons and shit like that in the next 10, 12 years.
A few have been found a little bit north of me, and because there was a large scale pet store, reptile based pet store here. There's iguanas in some of the areas that are supposedly around, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
we still have a pretty natural environment right here.
Yes, indeed. So, all right, smash the like, smash the subscribe button for awesome information from these guys.
Yeah, right by Barefoot Bay.
Yep, right by Barefoot Bay. Yep, that's it. So he knows it. Stan knows it. So, all right. Well, I mean, so you kind of you came into it professional, like in the show scene and stuff a little bit later on when things started to change for like the website years and, like the .com years and all that type of stuff. When did you start the Snakes Unlimited name thing? Did you start that back when you were selling stuff to Kathy or Yeah,
no, I've been running under that since probably 2003.
Okay. 2003. That's good.
Yeah. I've had that longer than some of the people are buying stuff from me have been alive.
Yeah. Isn't that fun now?
Yeah.
And I mean, like doing this podcast and all that fun stuff. It's just like, I think back on it and I'm like, damn, I founded EBN in July of 2000 and had exoticsbynature.com up with photographs and information and prices and shipping and things like that within a matter of a year. And man, I just like tech came in and morphs came in our time, your time and my time doing this, and a lot of people, I think they lack the understanding of that when they come in to the hobby and they just see all of this progress happening and all of these young, successful people like Justin Kabilka and, just to name one, fairly young, high success story, I should say. To where, like, when you look at the top of a game, you wouldn't see that age group of person there, right? My age or younger than my age at that top slot, right? But the reptile industry is so new and so young that we're in that spot. Yet the new generation is the first generation of shitheads that sometimes don't quite understand that. Do you follow me there? Is that something that you feel after going to shows recently and seeing how things are?
It's a cyclical business, I think. You see it in the pricing, you see it in the interest. There's a lot of people that come in that are kind of fair weather fans of certain things because that's where the money is. And the ball python thing, when we've been saying it's going to crash since back 06,
Well,
08, and it just keeps not crashing.
right.
So I mean, there's been people that have been ball python haters from way back in the day, and all they want to do is colubrids or other pythons or whatever they wanted to do. And then there's people that have always kind of just followed the market. And I mean, I'm friends with a few guys who I got to know them because they had really cool colubrids and really nice collections. And I go see them and it's all ball pythons now. And
I kind of knew things were slipping when in 2006, a guy named Casey Lazick called me to buy some ball pythons. 2005, and I was like, Casey, dude, you don't know. We've been down this road and we've known each other for years, even though you don't know me. And what the hell are you doing, man? And he was like, what do you mean? He's like, will you trade me? And I was like, I'll absolutely trade you. I will absolutely trade you 2 male pinstripes for 5 pairs of Angolan pythons. Absolutely. And that was it. And diamond pythons and black-headed I traded a genetic stripe and a het female for 2 pairs of blackhead adults.
Yeah, I tried getting some blackheads from him this past year, and he doesn't have any available for me.
Well, I mean,
the old king. He's not
the old king.
He's not really producing them too much right now for whatever reason.
No, he's not really producing much of anything, I don't think, really. I mean, it was kind of interesting he reached out to me late in the year, right around New Year's. We had a great 2-hour conversation and then faded into the nether world. Like the older folks sometimes do, right? So, right, it's one of those things where I would love to have him on this podcast, and Chris even gave his blessing for me to have him on, even after he'd asked Casey a whole bunch of times to come on, and I just think he could come on. And he is very reserved. You know him, right? And how he talks.
I don't actually.
Have you ever talked to him in conversation before? Never. Well, I mean, look, he's very reserved. I'll tell you, he's a conservative, Northwestern personality, bro. Like, he's very different than me and you with the Southern thing and us being, oh yeah, we like what we like and we do what we do. He's very like, I don't know if I want to talk about my reptiles from Australia because my children might think I'm a criminal. And it's like, right, it's like that. And it's like, well, they won't think you're a criminal. I mean, some of the shit was smuggled, yeah, but I mean, it's not like it was endangered species and you were eating them or something. You know what I mean? Like, you make it out like you were, Marlon Brando's character on The Freshman, where you're like carving up Komodo dragons and shit just for the delicacy, But no, like, when you're really bringing these species in, like, you got to think, man, blackheads, like, he told me the story of the Swiss line because you are one of the people, you and Jim Sargent are the two people that made the Swiss line of black-headed python literally burned into my brain. Like, to where, they come in with naked women in my head, bro, when I think of things and close my eyes. I'm not kidding. I mean, I got to be looking at, some stuff like crazy, colorful, black-headed pythons that I can almost pick out of a lineup for being Swiss related. I mean, I could just click on that and be like, Swiss line magic, boop, boop. Like, look at that, guys. Like, that's for real insanity. Right.
All due respect, I mean, my stuff came through Jim, so Jim's definitely the OG for me on that. And I got him through a secondary person. And what I got lucky with one killer male that looked like these guys you're showing right now, and I bred it back to the mother, and boom, off to the races. It went from I was producing nice quality clean blackheads to a few years ago, it went from nice to just ridiculous like this. And it's just like,
Shit looks like morphs, like candy, like something genetic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is, but you know, so I mentioned this to Casey. I'm like, bro, you should see how far this has gone. And he's like, oh, I've seen some of Jim's in his very, you know, low smoking, you know, Northwestern way. I've seen some Jim's and yeah, they're really. And then he goes on to tell me the entire history of the Swiss line and everything, like, and like, I'm like, dude, I wish I was recording right now. Why am I not, you know, why can you not just let me just hit record right now? I'm like sitting outside my house in the yard, you know, just chilling in the nice cool weather because it's not freezing cold, and he's just going on and on, bro, and I can't hit record for nothing. Like, I just can't do it. He's like, you're not recording this, are you? I'm like, what the fuck? Why not? Why the fuck not? Why can't we do this level of like I did with Bill Brandt years ago? Bill says, I want to do a pre-interview. Well, why don't we do a pre-interview that I record and then I just won't call you back? How about
I
that?
would love to hear the history on the Swiss line, because people ask me and I say, I don't know. And honestly, the best I can tell you is they're American mutts. Do they have Western? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to try to claim locality on
These
animals.
were animals that were here and there and everywhere. They
bounced
were
over to Europe and came back. And
came
I mean,
back.
Jim's got a great write-up on his page on the history of them. And I just defer people to that. I'm not, because all I could do was steal from Jim's page to put it up on my own page. And I'm not going to do that. Not the kind of person I am. I defer to Jim.
At least we can reference Jim Sargent. What's his
Split Rock Reptiles.
Split Rock Reptiles. Yeah, Split Rock. Yeah, definitely check out Split Rock Reptiles for some more information on the Swiss line.
Yeah,
Blackheads history. And a tremendous guy, Jim Sargent is. I hope he'll agree to do the show.
I produce a ton of blackheads, but I still, when people want history, I still say, go look at his webpage, read his history. He did it better than I can ever do it. He's got more information. And I don't want to tell you, I don't want to misquote what he's saying through my memory. And hey, while you're there, he's got great animals. Take a look. I mean, like I said, I don't run my Morph Market account. Simply, I started doing it, but then I just kind of sold down my animals to where I'm like, do I really want to pay for an account?
Yeah, it's just not worth it to you. It's just not worth it to you. I mean, if you don't need it to move your inventory, I don't think there's no need to scold you in having it. Like, you know, I mean, it's not again, like I said, it's not a Fat Man episode. I'm not going to give you a big red X like it's fucking Family Feud or something. Bonk, you know, fucking, you can't unmute Morph Market. This isn't 15 minutes of lame. But at the same time,
I will say Morph Market's doing great things for the industry with how they're doing stuff there.
They are. And I do wish we could incorporate more other species like these other things that you have, because these other snakes that I always forget to, you know, to reference to people, because I don't know I never remember the name of them because they're not of anything mainstream I ever learned about.
Talking about the bird snakes?
Yeah, the bird snakes that I learned about when I was younger, but that they're absolutely tremendous animals and that I believe they need a huge, enormous spotlight tonight on our show. And that is, you know, I would like for you to, you know, give me a little bit more insight on that. Where can I find more of them? Is that them there? Let's see.
No, that's my sulphurus. So neotropical bird snake, Firenax bacillinotus is how I pronounce it. It's a dead language, so it could be anything. But that's another one that's great. Yeah, no, that is also.
Oh, that's them. Okay.
They're one of the most variable snakes on the planet. The bacillinotus come from Central America. In the southern end of Central America is Shropshire, which is like a speckled king snake, but with this body type, and arboreal, puffing, biting speckled king snake. They're just spectacular, but we can't get them in this country. Though a couple have supposedly come out of Nicaragua, which would, I think, be a slight range extension for them. But
yeah, that's pretty far, right?
And then polyepsis.
Where are they from? Where are they native to?
They're in Panama and Ecuador, in that region. And
neotropical bird snakes, is that what they were? Is that what you common name?
That's a common name, yeah.
A neotropical bird snake. I'm trying to find more photos.
And I'd be remiss not to say the thunder and lightning snakes in honor of Mr. Gavin Brink, as he always called them. That's another shot
Thunder
of them.
and lightning snakes. I mean, they're absolutely tremendous. You said they change colors throughout their life.
Yeah, so they all hatch out looking like the moss phase of eyelash viper, and then they start every shed. They get a little bit blander from that because they're spectacular as babies. That's Baird's.
Yeah.
They're spectacular as babies, and they fade out to what I just like call the stick phase. Like it's just like they would mimic into a branch easily, and they're really unimpressive. And that's when I got a couple of my nicest ones. They may or may not be here at the very bottom of this from Black Pearl because they went into that crappy looking stick phase. They were gray on gray like that that one. Yeah, that's in that baby phase when right as they've lost some. Now my dog's going nuts.
All right, dude.
We're in the country and there's something in the yard, so but they I'd say that's kind of like the bush viper.
Sorry for all you guys wearing headphones on the audio version of this. They're gonna get a dog bark in the ear. It's gonna be like, what the fuck, dude?
But they go from that into like this gray stick phase, and then they slowly start to fleck up with color. Every couple sheds, there's another fleck of color, and they don't seem to stop changing. So I think at the very bottom of my Instagram, I'm not looking at it myself, but there's what I called Skittles back in the day, and that was just a spectacular animal. Let me see if I can scroll down.
Gotcha. Again, I can keep digging. All right, what do we got here?
That's the red phase Spelotes sulphurus.
Damn, that's fucking fine as hell, dude.
So I'm one of a handful. So Mike Barrera got that animal in. A few more have come in here and there as wild caught imports. Not that individual animal.
Another guy needs to be on this podcast on a Tuesday is Mikey B, for sure.
Yeah. And
Mikey B would be great.
He called me up and for a ridiculous deal was like, hey man, my guy's he's being a lazy. He's not taking pictures. Do you just want these fucking things? You're the only guy I know that likes them.
The Sulphurus.
Yeah. I'm like,
you're the only guy that likes them. Fucking Mikey.
I said, I mean, we can make a deal. And he ends up sending me, those are some baby Pacillinotus. Yeah. He ends up sending me this stunning red animal and then a green. And I'm like, Jesus, it was basically.
Are you breeding those two?
The green one died on me. So sulphurus are like tigers. They're just big, thin snakes.
Yeah.
And they come in just
shitty,
parasite ridden.
Yeah, ridden and
they're abused coming in.
Are they symbiotic to like pinworms and shit like iguanas are now, where like you can't fucking clean them out and you gotta.
All I can tell you is I breed them captively now, and you can roll the dice on getting them wild caught, but it's stupid. I charge $1,000 for them. Most guys are charging $500 to $750 for wild caught, and I know people want to try to
Spelotes
for sulphurus.
For sulphurus, that's a great deal. $1,000 for a pair of them?
No, for a single.
A piece. $1,000 a piece. I don't know. That's a very cool rat snake, bro. I mean, I could definitely get behind that.
There's me and maybe one other person in the U.S. For about 4 years, I was the only guy in the world breeding them captively. And then a couple guys in Europe did it. And then I think a couple of people did it here now recently.
And where is this native to, sulphurus?
South America. And fun little.
It goes like Colombia and beyond, like rainforest. South America?
Yeah, they're in the rainforest.
They're throughout? Okay.
Yeah, so they're actually incredibly variable in Ecuador.
The range would vary the shit out of this, wouldn't it?
In Ecuador, a lot of them I've seen have been green. In Peru, I don't know where the animals came from, but they were almost solid yellow as 9-foot adults. These also get up to 14 feet long. They're supposed to be one of the biggest colubrids on the planet. And they're just a stunning animal, and they display amazingly well. They just sit out in a cage, and you walk in the room and they watch you. They're more these are like
a Woma. They're like a Woma. They're like a
No, no,
wall
no.
python in a way.
They watch you not in
No?
a I want to eat your face
Oh, okay.
mode. They watch you and want to see what you're doing. And I'll see them like peeking around the corner of their
No, I don't watch
cage
you want to eat your face mode. So
to
that's
see
like a
what's
wall
going
python.
on. If I sit down in my snake building and just kind of look up everything in the what I call the puffing snake complex, all my bird snakes, my sulphurus, all my Spelotes, Mexicanus are all staring at me. They're all just
Okay.
waiting to see what's happening. What's going on? Are we
But
feeding?
you've got
Are
them all. You got them caged now, huh? They're all
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out. Yeah, they're all caged and stuff. So, I mean, that's one thing that I want to get into here in the show here in a bit. But the neotropical bird snake I think is way underrated. I think it absolutely needs more love. I still want to get some from you. I probably should get rid of some of my corns and stuff and get some of this stuff from you.
If you've got I started breeding button quail because these guys are little dicks and they don't want to take rodents.
Well, that was
but
my
they'll eat
next
the hell out
question
of
for you
quail.
was the babies and how the babies are, how difficult the babies were to get to feed. So is it a size thing or is it just a taste thing? I mean, they are bird snakes. I mean, it makes sense.
They are bird snakes. When I mentioned I had them on rodents, Harry Green's like, "Oh wow, you should do a write up on that." I don't think anybody's ever documented them eating rodents.
Oh
I
shit.
was like,
okay,
I'm not going to do a write up.
Right, yeah,
but-
that's just not Jason Hood style, right? I mean, Team Hood is as far as with the t-shirts as far as you get.
Yeah, and then my wife had to make that for me. But yeah, they're once they're feeding, they're easy. They're reactive feeders. You tap them on the side of the body with food, and they spin around, grab it. And all of these in the puffing snake complex are some of the fastest feeding snakes you're ever going to see. So you can
they just swallow it down, right? I mean,
yeah, if you feed them live, which I do not recommend at all, I literally have seen like the mouse going down and like pushing out on the side of the body.
Oh yeah,
Oh no, I see feet pushing. Like
that's
if
not
this
good,
thing decides to
that's
dig
an
or something.
esophageal issue. Yeah, that's an esophageal tear. Yeah, that's
and
all
I'm not
kind of
talking
problems,
it's here, it's like down towards their belly and it's still pushing out because they'll take a mouse in seconds.
That's right. That's
But
right.
I went to Peru for the first time and my buddy Gavin was into the bird snakes and I was into sulphurus. Well, I wasn't into sulphurus at the time. I went down there and my wife to be brought me to a local where basically all the confiscated snakes get brought to.
Okay.
And it was an anti-venom production facility where they only make anti-venom for their recluse that's there and a scorpion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't make any venom.
So no snake venom.
No, because people that are going to get bit by snakes that are venomous can't afford to pay for the anti-venom to make it. All the people with money live in the desert where on the coast
there's no venomous shit, right?
Well, that's where the scorpions and the recluse are.
Right. Gotcha.
So I think it's a Chilean recluse. But anyways, we're there and they've got this 9.5 foot long just monster of a sulphurus. And the guy's like, do you want to hold it? I'm like, kinda. Like it's this big, massive head. So he's like, no, it's super sweet. He pulls it out, hands it to me. I'm holding it just in absolute awe. And my wife starts snapping photos of me, which, you know, it starts making me uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm so in love with this animal immediately. Like as soon as I touch it, but I know I'm making a stupid face. And I'm like, you're going to catch this. Nah. So that kind of weirded me out. And then this whole school class comes in. So they come in and they start, you know, petting the snake's tail and stuff. And the guy's like, all right, we'll put it back in the cage. And so I put it back in the cage and he goes over and grabs some just small adult mice and throws one in there. The thing reaches out and grabs a mouse and I see blood squirt out of the mouse, like across the room. I'm like, the bite force that thing had, holy crap.
That's crazy. But I mean, I guess to be a bird hunter, right?
Well, so they're nest raiders.
Okay.
So they'll shoot in, hit a nest, gobble up everything they can, and get the heck out of there. There was a video on.
Now
YouTube.
I see this one eating the egg in the eggshell. So the eggshell's digested and all.
No, they spit it or pass it. We're not sure which way it comes out because I never do see it happen. But there was a video back in the day, woodpecker versus snake, and it's a big giant sulphurus in the Amazon. The guy's screaming, "Don't shake the boat! Don't shake the boat!" You ever seen that video?
No, I don't think so, but I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, no, it's incredible but it also shows how ineffective these snakes are at killing large prey, 'cause this woodpecker just beats the shit out of the snake.
Right.
And it keeps the snake keeps grabbing it, but it doesn't think to constrict it. But
Mhm.
it was just like that was I went down, saw the snake in person in the Peruvian serpentarium, come home, there's woodpecker versus snake on the internet. I start calling everybody I can, and I call up Crutchfield and I'm asking, like, hey, do you ever import these? I want these smallest, because I know what they're going to come in. They're going to come in large. They're going to come in riddled with parasites. I'm like, I want the smallest, youngest specimens you can get. Do you ever import these? And Tom says, yeah, man, I get them up 12, 13 feet long. I'm like, right, cool. I want the
Yeah, I want the
smallest
small
possible
shit, right? I
animal.
want the babies.
Oh,
right?
shit, man. Back in the day, I swear, man, damn near 14 feet long. I'm like, cool. The smallest thing. And I tried and tried.
Totally imagine
He
him
wouldn't
doing
change
that.
his story. He just would tell me how badass Tom was. And so finally I called Billy Albright and I'm like, hey buddy, can you help me out with this? And he's like, man, I'll put the word out. And I shit you not, within 2 weeks, Ben Siegel selling Peruvian, because I told him I wanted Peruvian sulfuris.
Mhm.
He's selling Peruvian sulfuris. I send out, I
Yeah,
purchase
it's
a snake
beautiful picture
immediately
right
for
there
like,
of sulfurous. Wow, that's so fucking awesome, spectacular animal right there.
I purchased this thing in immediately. And that time,
Wow.
these and the bird snakes were both in Susties. So I
Mhm.
buy this thing immediately, sight unseen. He doesn't even have a picture on King Snake at the time. I don't even know where I got the listing for it. I just knew he had it as available.
So
Immediately
they
buy
were
it.
so they were actually part of the same genus
They were.
at that
And then
time. This
at that time,
this was broke off to be a Spelotes, and the bird snake is that other one, right?
it got sunk to Fire and Axe. Yeah.
Fire and Axe.
It used to
Interesting,
be
man, because
Susties,
they're
which is a
so
better
fucking
name.
similar, right? Like I keep
Yeah.
seeing that in this, what I want to say is a red-tailed tiger rat snake. Like I'm just like, look at this mean motherfucker with a big old
They
throat.
don't bite.
That's
They don't bite
yeah,
and hand
but
like
they
that,
don't
bro.
bite. They're not like tigers, huh? They're not like the experiences I had with imported
Not with
Spelotes back
the
in
imports will
day.
bite the hell out of you, but the captive born animals don't bite.
They don't
But
bite. Do they still puff up like that? Do they still display?
yeah.
Or no? Oh,
Oh
they
yeah, no,
do?
every time you take them
That's
out, they puff.
spectacular.
They do
That's
the
spectacular.
full thing. If they're in their cage, they'll bite the hell out of you because it's their home and you're going in their home.
Yeah.
But I get in this snake from Siegel. It comes in. I open the box up, thrilled to get my first sulfuris.
How fucking
and
big was it?
It's a baby Pacillinotus.
Oh, okay.
Peruvian
Okay.
Pacillinotus.
Peruvian Pacillinotus.
So now I'm like, okay, cool. I got a Pacillinotus.
And you hadn't had Pacillinotus at that time?
No, because
Okay, great. You had just started working on this stuff then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I started asking.
Is that how
around,
you got into Pacillinotus? Then you were just forced by Ben Siegel's fucking
Yeah.
incompetence of a species. Fucking, I'm sorry, Ben.
Well,
I was
then-
somewhere around here is that old man, and I love him, and he ain't coming on a live show for sure. that motherfucker for sure not coming on a live show.
What's his name in Vegas? He's since passed on.
Since passed on in Vegas.
Yeah, it was I think Las Vegas something or other.
I don't remember.
Big crazy guy. You definitely know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name, but he runs
not
ads.
Dean Ripa. No,
No.
not Dean. No.
He runs ads. He's
wasn't
got
in Vegas.
he's got sulfuris, also from Peru. I look, they're also Pacillinotus. Someone else
Right.
runs an ad, also sulfuris from Peru.
That's got to be a disaster. Oh my god!
So I start messaging these people like, hey, you've got Pacillinotus. That's not a Peruvian sulfuris. There's no way in hell. And then come to find out, I think it's all because Billy just put the word out to everybody, and so everybody just wanted to get what Billy was asking for.
Oh, you think that was it? They were just
Yeah.
changing the name to whatever, like like
the
Guyanas and
Susties.
Surinames back in the day. Whichever one sold the best, that's which ones they were called when they came in.
A Susie's a Susie's.
Well,
Who cares?
I'll tell you what, I think these are incredible, and I think a lot of people should look to them to be very interesting. If you are looking at Spelotes, and I've had several people contact me and tell me about Spelotes. I saw now Kevin McCurley is working on Spelotes. He's got those albino tigers up there.
What?
Yeah, he's got A-male tigers. You didn't see them?
Are you sure?
Yep.
The only A-male tiger came in through Barrera, went to Siegel to Orlando up in Wisconsin.
Kev's got him. Kevin's got him.
You sure it's those and not the? He's got albino boiga.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of boiga. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking yellow
Also
striped snakes.
puffing.
You're right. I'm being stupid. I'm thinking puffy yellow striped snakes. Yep, I'm totally dumb. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't believe he has the albino boiga. He doesn't have albino tigers.
Yeah, I bought
so what happened to the albino tiger? Let's go through it because I know there was one. Ken Foose is who you're thinking of. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
In Las Vegas. There you go.
But,
thanks, Jeff. There goes Jeff. My God damn, you should be a co-host of this show, bro. No, he's really like the history buff guy because he got to travel around with Bob Clark back then and stuff too, and Mike. So like he got to know, he knows so many people outside of my brain. And so like the two of us together, we'd have a hell of a show together, Jeff. Consider it. Wow, I'll make up with Mike however I have to. We've already talked about it. But yeah, Jeff Byers is a great dude. But yeah, Ken Foose, I remember.
The albino guy dropped, I think, $10K for it. Went up to his facility up in the Wisconsin Dells, and he ran a theme park there where he makes all his money in a few months because it's Wisconsin, so you can only get people into these go-kart tracks and whatnot for 3 or 4 months, and that's of course when the snakes are all dropping their eggs. He misses one of the females on eggs, finally catches it where only one egg is left good, and that hatches out a female. So we're still perfect. He's got a live male and a female 100% het. He raises that female up, and the first year she's ready to breed, he comes in and the snake's laying on a branch and just kind of its body's up in a branch, head's on the ground, walks by again, snake's in the same spot, comes out the next day, snake's in the same spot, and he's like, ah. And the thing just like crawled off a branch and died on the bottom of his cage. No idea what happened. And I don't know what else is going on. I bought what was left of his collection at the time. Everything came in a little funky.
Probably like maybe crypto or something like that.
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it seems like these animals being as thin as they are, it seems like bacteria or something like that could just be, protozoan and infection could just be detrimental quick,
This was not an old age thing, but he had Mexicanus from Brian Sharp, but they were ancient. They were, for them, these only lived to like their teens, maybe early 20s at the absolute ancient oldest. So
that makes a lot of sense though, considering their metabolism, and you say how fast they are at eating and things like that. I mean, you would think they'd have a quicker, a shorter life expectancy. Now, tell me this: do they have any potential to eat their eggs at all, considering they're so egg eating and consuming and such like that? No, not even in captivity if they lack on a rodent diet or anything like that, or what?
I don't think
never experienced. Not dumb like a Western hognose. Sorry, Western hognose lovers. I know you love their cute little fucking noses and everything, but you gotta like tape up their face when you breed them and stuff, and all the other stupid shit you gotta do to worry about those dumb fucking things. Females eating the males, like, oh, my female's not worth $15,000 more. How come? She just ate a male that I spent $15,000 on. Yeah, fuck you. I bought a Western hog. I bought one. I don't even know what it is. I spent like $2,000 on it. I don't even fucking know what it is.
Perfect.
It's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame. At least I know what the $2,000 crested gecko I bought is. Fucking stupid shit. But I've just been fascinated with the species since I saw them, and you and I talked about them, and you told me about them, and how rich your history was in them and all that. I mean, I think they're spectacular, bro. Like, so you're still working these very well.
Oh, yeah, I'm working them.
Go ahead, catch up. Take a drink if you need
I've been
to.
sick for like a week here.
That sucks. That sucks. You Southerners, man. Southerners aren't used to the cold, man. It starts getting cold, and all this stuff goes around. Everybody's got strep throat and fucking flu. I got a flu shot the other day and felt like shit for 2 days. And now I'm good. I don't think it's keeping anything from me, but whatever. But yeah, this is a really great group. So the fact that they were Spelotes also makes me more interested in working with them, because then it kind of gives me an excuse to work with the group. because I think they're really spectacular. I don't know if anybody would actually buy it. You get good money for them, though. No, how much do you get for these little suckers when you have them eating on mice? By the way,
I get them up. These we offered $8.50 a pair because when Quetzal was still in Costa Rica, he was shipping them in the country, and people were flipping them from him, and he was asking, pennies on the dollar coming in. So by the time they were here, trying to get a cough drop so I can shut the hell up with the cough.
You're good.
They're underpriced at $8.50 a pair is what I can tell you.
Yeah,
because they're the most variable snake on the planet. The only problem is you don't know what they're going to look like from a baby to an adult. Even
they're like having what you call it,
Amazon tree boas,
the venomous snakes. Oh, come on, the viper. It's all the come on,
eyelash viper. I don't know,
not the eyelash.
Where are you going?
Not Usambara. Like it.
I think
I'm drawing a complete blank. Schlegel eye keeps coming in my head because of eyelash viper.
African, the bush vipers.
The bush viper, yeah. What?
I can't think of the name of it either.
Squamagera. Squamagera. You guys that don't know, on the wonderful bullshit podcast, you have absolutely no idea what a squamagera is. Squamagera viper, squamagera bush viper. They come in all colors, all types. It's absolutely incredible. Some of you may have seen some of these photos. Some of them aren't real pictures. Some of them are real pictures, but they are the most variable of the tree vipers that I know of. Absolutely fucking insane though. Like, this is me, bro. If I'm keeping hot shit, I'm keeping this. Keeping this crazy fucking Harry Potter looking evil like that is a badass fucking snake in that picture. I'm not lying, right? Like, that is such a cool ass animal in that photo. It's ridiculous.
They were high on my list before I realized I was too stupid to keep venomous.
Oh God, I don't. I mean, when my kid's out of the picture, dude, this shit here is my shit. Bush vipers. I go to the reptile show, I see them, and guys, look at that. If How to Train Your Goddamn Dragon. Come on, man. Like, I want a black one. Like, but you don't know, right? Because they're born and they can be any fucking color, guys. They can be any color from white to black. Anything.
Do they have a lavender?
They have a lavender. They have blue.
I don't know, man. That's not really lavender.
I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you other than the fact that you got to just grow up a billion of them to see. But the difference, I mean, look at this animal here and this animal here, and notice just that they are the same species. Same.
Well, Quetzal had a lavender Bacillinotus when he was still in Costa Rica. I don't think he brought it up with them, but it was a true lavender
overexposed ass picture. But a true lavender Bacillinotus. That's awesome. And it just makes me want them. God, look at this fucking thing. I gotta stop. I got a reptile show coming up, and all the hot show, all the shows down here, all the herp shows that I do are all hot shows. So, whenever I get to getting around that stuff, man, it's like, ugh. I really want one of these because they're cheap as fuck too. Like they're under a couple $100. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we've definitely
imported like crazy. That's a stripes. I imported that guy because we didn't have any stripes tiger rats here in the U.S. That was previously thought to be a different species in Honduras.
It's just is it genetic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. It's a gene.
Yep, and they're spectacular, bro. I don't.
Oh, they are beautiful. God, as long as they're not like they were when they were wild caught in the 90s.
No, striped 2/3 of them, and then the tail's jet black. Like they're ridiculous.
All right. Well, look. So the tiger rat snake and bird snake complex we hammered well. I would like to
one
hammer
more thing with the bird snakes.
Please.
They're sexually dimorphic with their scalation. So if you go back one picture, that's a female. I think I showed you this. This one
did. I forget. You threw so many details about the species at me, dude.
If you, I don't know if you can zoom on this or not, but if you go to this on Instagram, you zoom in, you can see the raised keels and they feel sharp. Like they're so raised on the adult males that they're
like
they feel like you're
you?
going to cut your hand when you rub your hand down the middle of their back, and the females are almost completely smooth on their back.
Wow.
So
there you go, Jessica Hare. That's for you. That detail's for you to sell you on these. A sexually dimorphic, insane
somebody
South
was trying
and
to sell
Central
me
American
an
colubrid
adult female in giant air quotes
with razorbacks
with California, and I'm like, just send me a picture of it, could you? And she sent me this like far off picture. I'm like, can you get me a close up? As soon as she got within like 5 feet of it, I could see
that's
it was
fucking awesome.
It was a male. I'm like,
That's
yeah, no, that's a male.
incredible.
She said, no, it sold to me as a female. I'm like, cool, but it's gonna have really big hemipenes.
Look at that. Look at that. That is fucking incredible. Look at that, guys. Look at that dimorphism and the difference in the coloration. Is that a pair? Wait.
It's a trio.
That's a trio. Who? Let me hang on.
So an orange female on the bottom.
Yeah.
The yellow one is
yellow
what was
with the male.
It's actually the same picture you were just looking at a couple pictures ago. It was all that was
that's a male
colored. That's the male, and that's same male a few years later. He just lost a bunch of his color, and then there was a orange and
and so
gray
do
female.
they go brown completely?
No,
in captivity they seem to stay colorful.
It seems like the red gray phase, which is towards the bottom of my Instagram. The red gray phase stays red gray. The ones that get bright orange seem to fade as they get a little bit older, but you're never going to know. And the thing is, they're also a shorter lived species, again in the teens to 20s. So they're continuously their entire life, they're color changing. Like I said, with the exception of the red grays, seem to, once they reach that red gray adult phase, they keep that look. The colors change a little bit, but they seem to keep their pattern and everything. The rest of them, you got a different snake every 6 months to a year.
That's incredible. I think that's a selling point on them. I think you're gonna. Hey, look, do me a favor. You have any available now?
Not really. I got.
If you have any available now, I want a pair or a trio. Give me a trio of them. Give me a price on a trio. PM me a price on a trio when you have them available, and I'm ahead of all of these assholes that I'm selling them for you tonight. They're all going to like hit you up and be like, I want some, man. I want to be on this year's list. Yeah, well, look, after Sean, I get to be in front of them all, please. And I promise you I'll buy 1.2. Give me a price. I'll send you the money, and you can give them to me when you have them.
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. Done deals on the air. How about that? That's lead the pack with you fuckers, because I know y'all are gonna fucking be. Y'all are already messaging him like, I'm hitting him up right now, you douchebag. You're gonna get off the air in an hour. And yeah, fuck you. I'm holding his attention hostage for an hour. So before we get to the blackhead, I'm gonna make them all wait on the black-headed python talk until the end, because I think that's what they're all waiting for. I can't get off of these fuckers.
So I had one of my big sulfurus at Kinley, and a few of the early podcast guys walked by me. Back in the day, this was years ago.
Yeah,
a few of the quote unquote big names in the hobby walk by, and they look at it and try to figure out what the snake is, and they don't know what it is. I can see it in their eyes. They walk by, and then here comes Mark Bell, and Mark Bell's he's just such a real deal snake dude. He's kind of like O'Shea, where he's just a
geek. He's such a fucking geek.
He walks up, he looks at me, he goes, from like 15 feet away in the middle of town, he goes, what the fuck is that? I'm like, and I go through the whole spiel. It's Spelotes sulfurus. He goes, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
I said, it's a, I don't know, it's the Amazon puffing snake. He goes, oh, I think I imported them. I'm like, probably, Mark. He's like, man, I've never seen him. And he totally geeked out on the snake for a while. They're like, all right, see you later. Fuck off. I don't care. It was cool to see if, a few of these guys with celebrity. And I don't think many people know just how most people walk through a show next to Mark and Kim have no idea how instrumental they are to the hobby, how much they do, how much they donate to USR.
No, probably not. But I mean, I think they will. And by the time we're done with this podcast and a few other people worshiping them and really putting them on a pedestal for the noobs to get who they are, if we could just get them to participate in a podcast, I mean, I'm hoping
everything that Mark's done and all the money, everything else that he's come through, all the animals,
All the
He's
laws
still
in
just
Florida he's pivotal about. He's just a humble geek still.
he's still just a
He's
snake
still
dude.
just a humble
And
geek.
that was
He's
like one of
still,
my favorite like meetings of one
moments
of
with
like
him. Yeah.
the big names of the hobby. Like some of the big names you meet, and it's like, ugh, this guy's a douche.
Oh, and look, he was on a mission years ago. That kid Gabriel that was in the ball pythons big was with me at Daytona, and he tugs me in the hallway, going towards the North Tower, and we're like right outside the bathroom, or right outside the bathroom to the North Tower, headed towards the South Tower area, Daytona Hilton. And Mark Bell's standing there talking to somebody, and he's just about done talking. You can tell his conversation's about to end. And Gabe's like, "Bro, that's Mark. Is that Mark Bell?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what did I call? What did we call him? That Vince Young looking motherfucker over there, right? Okay, something like something like that Vince Neil looking motherfucker over there. Yeah, Vince Neil looking motherfucker over there." And Gabe's like, "Who?" And I was like, "You'd have to Google it, kid." Yeah, because confusion got me then too. But he walks up and he's like, "Sean, what's going on?" And Gabe's just like fucking starstruck. And I'm just like, "Hey, Mark, how are you, man? It's good to see you, dude. I was hoping I'd see you at the show." "Yeah, we don't have tables this year," or whatever. It was a year they didn't have a booth. And Gabe was just like a little pup, like standing there, like, "Wait, Spike, introduce me, Spike," like that. And I'm like, "Hey, look, I want you to meet the kid that's with me. His name's Gabriel Murphy." And he shakes his hand and he looks him in the eye. And, "Gabe, it's a pleasure to meet you." And he was like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Bell." And he was just like, "Gabe, I got a question for you." And Gabe's like, "Really? You have a question for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, Gabe, you know where I can get about 4,000 to 10,000 baby corn snakes, dude? You look like a kid that could help me with that." And he's like, No, I breed ball pythons." And he was like, "Ah, fuck, I got plenty of those." And he just walked away. That was it. Like that was his experience. I was like, there was your Mark Bell experience, bro. You had your 15 seconds. That was it. I was like, hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a really good time. But he was on a mission. I'm like, "Hey, dude." And he was like, "Was he serious?" And I was like, "Honestly, if you would have had 10,000 corn snakes for sale right then on the spot, he would have wrote you a check tomorrow for them all."
Yeah.
All of them. And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that's who supplies PetSmart and Petco's Overflow, or, several others, as well as pet stores, as well as us. I mean, and like you said, pivotal people of the industry.
I was sitting on the Bananas when it was still Bananas patio at Tinley, having a few drinks, and Cindy introduces them to me, and she's like, "Mark, he breeds a lot of black-headed pythons." And I'm just trying to play it cool. I'm like, "Hey, Mark, do you want any black-headed pythons?" And he says, "No, fuck those things.
Yeah.
I had about 60 back in the day. Couldn't get them to fucking breed."
Couldn't get him to fucking breed, or couldn't get him to fucking hatch. One of the two. I can't get him to fucking hatch, bro. I can't hatch them. I've thrown eggs away 4 times and I'm done.
I can walk you through it. It's easy.
Yeah, well, that's what Matt said. That's what Monkey Frog Matt Jablonski said. Jablonski said the same fucking thing. "I can walk you through it. It's easy." He walked me through your methods, and I was fucking it doesn't matter. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start over again with a non-Jablonski line, whatever you want to call him. I'm not going to call him anything other than that, right? Because you know what I mean when I say that. Yeah, right? I'm not going to call them ugly, because they're still black-headed pythons. They're still incredible. But I'm going to get some Swiss line from you or Jim, whatever is the most wise to raise from. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's move on from these badass South American and Central American Spelotes and relatives of Spelotes. And let's look at Tegus, because you are littered with Tegu photos on your pages. I know I'm way back in the day now, because we were just digging.
Yeah, they're all with Russ Gurley now.
Are they all with Russ now? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Russ has all the Tegus, because you can't have them in Florida.
I could have still had them, and I could have still kept fighting the fight here, but I was over it, and they have to come inspect me if I have Tegus.
I got you.
And I, inviting Fish and Wildlife into your house at any time is, my guy that inspects me is actually a very knowledgeable and respectful guy, but you don't know you're always going to get the same guy. And I don't want a guy coming in, a buddy for a turd that had the imprint of the yellow anaconda that dropped it into the turd because the snake took a shit and wrapped the shit and just sat on it. And when the guy had him pull the snake for checking its pit tag, he revealed the turd on the bottom of the cage and goes, "Oh, your cage isn't clean. I'm going to get you a citation for that." And he's looking at it. He's like, "You can see the scales where this thing wrapped it wet and never moved. Like, I didn't know it was in there. Should have cleaned your cage." The snake hasn't moved for 2 weeks. It's been
because everything's got to be gleaming clean when they get there.
Yeah.
And they can just pop in anytime.
Yeah. So that's the law in Florida. You give away your right to them needing a warrant to enter your facility. So they can come during business hours, anytime, come visit your facility.
Jason Earl says, I love all these podcasts with all these breeders and keep all these different species. Jason, I hope that means all these bullshit podcasts with all these breeders that keep all these different species. And if not, definitely check out the whole back rack, because it's the only other one that I truly vouch for on a regular daily basis as a podcast of choice. But I do and need your subscriptions and your likes and your notification bell selection. So please close the chat for a second, because it's not really all that active while everybody's listening to this badass motherfucker talk about all these wonderful species that no one even considers working with. Now we're going to get into some more common territory of species, but still some uncommon ones. Let's talk about something a little bit more north then. Before we get into this, since the Tegus are now with Russ Gurley, and we'll let Russ get on the show and talk to me about that.
Russ
here
has
very
plenty
soon.
of albino blues and reds available.
Well, we need to get Russ on this show to do a show about Tegus and talk about this wonderful book that he authored. So
Russ is another
thankful.
He's another soft-spoken legend of the hobby. That's just people have
so
no
thankful
clue
that I have this book, Lizard Man, that Russ Gurley wrote on the amazing Burt Langerwerf, one of the most amazing men that I ever had a pleasure of knowing, who's no longer with us in his trade. I speak about him a lot on this show. He could speak 15, 16 languages, not fluently, but he could get through it. And that was unbelievable, dude, to know that man. You got to meet him a few times down in Daytona. I'm sure that was a maybe. Did you talk to him back then or no?
I've never talked to him. No.
Did you never see his booth? Do you recall? How's your memory? Do you remember a booth with a white plywood box filled with Tegus in 4 compartments? No.
No,
it was the same booth for.
I was straight snakes for the longest time.
That's a shame.
Yeah. No, I was the closest I got to be interested in lizards early on was checking out the wrestler William Regal when he was trying to buy an iguana while he was there, and geeking out that he was there.
Never noticed celebrities in the scene very often. Never noticed. Was there in Tinley Park when this chick that had like a amateur, well, I'd say amateur, I guess it was kind of like a college girl next door porn website before OnlyFans and all that. We're all standing around. And this was back when Brian Barchak was running Snake Bites, and he had Chewy on his show, and he had June working for him and all that. And we're all standing around, and June standing right there with Brian and I, and Brian's starstruck. And we're looking, and we're trying to figure out who the fuck he's looking at. He's looking at this girl, dude. This girl's stacked. I mean, she's got, she's all over, just amazing, right? Looking, right?
He was local Brian's to Chicago.
He was. This was in Chicago. This was in Tinley Park.
No, she was local to Chicago. She did all the Lee Watson swaps back in the day.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Okay. Next door,
talking about Nikki. Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki. Right, and nobody knew. Like, we didn't know that, right? And Barchak's sitting there, right? There, Fires knows, right? Barchak's sitting there, and he was like, "Are you next door, Nikki?" And I just like that, and we were like, bro, you don't even gonna ask her like what her real name is or something. You're gonna just straight up throw it out like a fan, like next door. Like, he was like, what the fuck? It was really kind of embarrassing to him. It was funny though. It was really funny.
She was dating a gecko guy for a long time.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I mean, she was with some dude that was there that was just some absolute douche though. This guy didn't have geckos. If he had geckos, I don't know where they were. like hiding under his shoe collection or some shit. The guy she was there with that time, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, who knows? But yeah, next door Nikki was really hilarious. But I mean, that was the only time I ever was there, and then like Barchak was like, other than like Mark O'Shea and fucking Nigel Marvin and whoever the fuck else was the celebrity of Nat Geo's stardom that was there at the shows, but never really did I see anyone that was like, oh wow, look at that. But yeah, Tegu's, man, getting to know Bert would have been a milestone for you too, because that's a shame that we don't have him anymore. You know, different type of reptile guy there. But
Yeah,
I'd love to have Russ on to talk more about him. So what do I see? What do I see here? Cunningham skinks. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about these oddities. I said we were moving up in the world, and I said rat snakes because I was going to talk about Mexican bears real quick. You want to touch on those before we touch on the skinks?
I know the Mexican bears. I got regular bears, and I got the Mexican tiger rats that you pass by down there.
Okay.
The Cunninghams are just a group I picked up from Ron St. Pierre. I'm trying them. I'm not. He's telling me it takes a couple years for them to kind of get settled before they'll do anything for you. They're neat. They're I don't know if I'm going to stick with them. They're not.
You got them from Ron? Or they? What do they eat? Bugs?
Yeah, bugs, vegetation. They're eating a bunch of quail eggs right now because I got them inside, and the quails are dropping a bunch of eggs for me.
All right, talking about Ackies. You working with them?
I'm trying to, man. They're
fucking frustrating as shit. Too bad Pro Exotics was actually quite good at them for quite a while. Before that poor Dwayne incident. Fucking. Oh man,
how are you passing by the tiger rats without clicking on them?
Which
dude?
one?
Come
These?
on.
These two?
Yeah.
Well, because I already spent so much time on Spelotes, everybody's like, "Damn, here he goes
Those
back."
are Mexican tigers, though, bro. That's Tamaulipas locality tigers.
Okay,
that's
so these are
Gladys
special.
Porter Zoo stock special, bro. That's
are they really that orange?
Thing. Yes, that's
pretty incredible.
I don't photo edit anything. If you can't tell looking at my photos, I don't adjust color for anything.
Oh, I didn't mean you adjusted color. You could have just had a piece of camera that was throwing out color that was a little wrong. I mean, I got a camera that throws out color that's wrong, but yeah.
No, that's absolutely legit, bro. Those are one of the most colorful snakes on the planet. They're ridiculous.
Savage. We better get to talking about Asiatic blackheads, or I'm gonna flip the fuck out. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. I put you on the sidelines, bitch. Right? You sponsor this show doesn't mean you run this motherfucker. Wait, bring it to the group chat. Y'all have an 8-way vote on this. I'll get back to you tomorrow. You know, how about that? Right? Like that's the way it is. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt Mexicanus. So that's Spelotes, Mexicanus, and
the true Tamaulipas locality. Gladys Porter Zoo stock, there's only about 20 of those in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, they're super
incredible. That's pretty incredible.
That's my number one thing for this season. That's my sink or swim.
You gotta love this throat on these guys, man. Look at this thing telling you I love you very much. I'd love to fucking come and talk to you. I would love to meet you in a club tonight and dance a little bit. That would be fun.
And again, they're not really biters, man.
I mean, it's all show, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, Jason Earl says gorgeous. I'm glad we went back. I was just taunting him, not trying to like jump around them. Like I've already sold the shit out of this whole Spelotes complex with you tonight. Like everybody's like, I'm scraping my ball python money together.
There's so many layers to them.
Yeah,
I can do 2 hours just on sulfurous, man. Those are amazing. And these aren't even pure Tamaulipas locality. That's a mixed Honduras and Tamaulipas locality clutch right there.
So how about this? When I run out of people that are awesome to talk with that are like you on Off Topic Tuesdays, and Off Topic Tuesdays switches to a species spotlight, that we start working on some of these things, because you'll always be one of those guys that I'm going to come and talk to do a show about the oddity of the hobby, right? Especially the oddity of our continent of the hobby, which, I mean, southern part of our continent, obviously, our side of the world, to be able to work with a new age rat snake type snake, whether they're a rat snake or not. I know them as a rat snake, right? Like I don't know what you know them as, other than I guess bird snakes would be a better name for the group of them, maybe. I don't know how you feel about Spelotes being called bird snakes, though. Like, well, how do you
Oh.
generalize them to the public? Because I mean, these
I
guys are
just
going to
call
be
them the
out there
puffing
looking
snake
for
complex.
information. The puffing snake complex, right?
Yeah,
So,
I
and
mean,
they all used to be part of the same group, or several of them used to be, and they were
Yeah.
bounced around, you know.
Yeah, they've
So,
been bounced around. There's a lot of work to be done with the tigers.
Mm.
There's going to be somebody that's going to come out and do some genetic work, and they're going to start naming species left and right, because they kind of dropped them all into just Spelotes pilatus right now, and that's absolutely incorrect for them. When they did the work to pull sulfurous over, I talked to the guy who did the genetic work for that.
Yeah.
And he said that it looks like there's definitely a species in Mexico, all of Mexico, into Honduras and northern Nicaragua. That's one species. Costa Rica's got one on each
Sulfurous?
side. No, the Mexicanus.
Oh,
the tiger rats.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
it's
the
very
sulfurous.
confusing to me.
The guy who did the sulfurous work, because he had to look at all the pilatus, the general pilatus group, to identify that the sulfurous should be in Spelotes. When he was looking at that, the genetics he got to look at, he said it's easy to identify. There's about 6 species there, and it's very likely that someone's going to finally do the work. He just refused to do it because it takes too much effort to deal with that many different people from different countries to get all that data. But yeah, so
sure.
the short version of that is, don't breed Central American tigers to South American tigers. They're completely different species. You know, it's going to be like jungle carpet pythons. They're
Right.
You know, they were different. They were unique, and then we started mixing them up and with diamonds like those right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a very nice diamond. The quality here is impeccable. Who'd this come from? Where'd you get this?
I got it secondhand through space on the guy's name. He's in Tampa. He did the Daytona this past year with a giant display of all of his diamonds and carpets. Good Lord.
I'm not hip on it, so it's not that big of a deal. It's not hurting my feelings. Not Nick Button,
no.
Justin Julander.
No. Sat down here in Florida.
No, he's in Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody will help. Somebody in the chat that's in Florida and knows things will help. Savage will help. Maybe not. They're Daytona experts. I haven't gone in a few years. But this is an incredible diamond python. So you're working with this now?
Yeah, I'm using him to go back to a couple diamond jungle crosses.
Oh, okay. There you go. Good job. Trying to fuck it up even more. Should be just extinguishing them. No, I'm kidding. Hybrids have a place in the world, so I guess at some point. So I dig through, I see turtles. I see some Chinese soft shell, albino Chinese soft shell. That's cute.
Yeah, no, those are like the perfect like turtle species, man. They only get like that big as adults. They're great.
Yeah, they don't get huge like spiny soft shells of our country here.
But they made them illegal to keep in Georgia.
Did they?
Yeah, too many of the Asian markets are getting them in, and people are dumping them.
Oh yeah, that's not good. Yeah, and they would survive very well in the waterways there, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, all right. Let's see. Everybody's like, "Yeah, get to the fucking black-headed pythons already." Yeah, right. Monitors. I see some monitors. I see some gopher snakes, some Pituophis.
Yes, sir.
Of sorts. What's that? Applegates?
Yeah, I got
albinos,
and
that's a Sonoran, right? That's not a San Diego, is it? Or that's a San Diego. Sharp nose. What is this? Albino bull snake. Okay, I didn't even read it. Looking at the nose.
That looks like one of the bulls. You're throwing me off.
That's a bull snake. Yeah, no. Dude, the whole Pituophis genus is fucking weird anyway, and what constitutes each one. But I saw the pointed nose on that one. I'm like, that's kind of weird. I like give somebody.
It's all blackheads after that. Some Dominican mountain boas.
Yeah, some Honduran milk snakes and
some Hondurans.
What else? Yeah, what am I missing before I get on to the black-headed pythons? There's a bunch of axanthics over there. Some regular, some big swollen shit. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
That's why you don't do head level cages with tigers.
Base level cages with Spelotes rats. That's right.
But I'll give that dude credit. He can bite me as much as he wants, man. He is the father of all the babies.
Oh yeah,
he is. That's like with tigers. You need one good breeder.
He's the one good breeder, huh? He is it.
He is it. Yeah, so many blackheads, so many Swiss line blackheads. I keep looking, and when you see these fire animals like that, you know it's from that line for sure.
Yeah, so a buddy of mine sent me on my way to Tinley 2 years ago. A guy sent me a Craigslist ad for a guy trying to dump a blackhead, a big monster 9-foot adult male. He sends me a picture. I'm like, fuck, that's one of mine. There's no doubt in my mind it's one of
unequivocal
mine.
doubt. No doubt it's one of yours or one of Jim's. One of them.
No, I just knew it was mine. It's like
Hmm.
I messaged the guy over, and he's like, yeah, no, it's a Jason Hood line animal, and I'm like, well, Jason Hood would like it back.
Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
got it on a steal. He was renting an apartment for the sole purpose of that snake because his parents would let it bring
shit.
him home, and he was trying to move back home with his parents.
Wow.
But he kept his rent going in his apartment for like 6 months trying to get rid of it. So he basically gave it to me with a vision cage and everything. It's like, hell yeah, man.
So when did you start with black-headed pythons?
Got him in 2008 I got an adult female and a young adult male. The adult female was a massive, like 9.5 foot, 16-pound animal, and the male was just barely breedable at like 5 foot and 4 pounds. Affectionately named Norbit, and threw them together and produced my first babies in 2009, and never looked back from that. That female dropped 21 eggs, 14 were fertile. I got 11 to hatch on the first try. So
wow,
not a bad result.
Hell no. No, you're a hell of a lot better than us. There's no doubt. Chicken. Black-headed pythons. I'm hungry anyway. Yeah, so is this your favorite species you've worked with? Is this your king of the mountain?
No, the puffing snakes, dude. What are we talking about these things for?
Well, I mean, it's all good. I mean, the puffing snakes, you definitely lit up talking to me about the whole group.
Yeah, no,
I first introduced me to them, but I mean, blackheads seem to have been a big part of your history, and at least you've mastered it. What, you move on now? That you're
dude,
whatever.
I'm gonna be trying to turn out a bunch this year too.
Why
no, I love the blackheads. The blackheads are awesome,
man. What about the albino blackheads? You're the guy that needs to be doing those.
I'm trying, brother. I'm trying.
You have the gene. You have some stuff.
Me and Tom, yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're working with Tom on it.
No, he's doing his thing. I'm doing mine. I don't work with anybody on anything. I think I
never know. You know, I mean, because something like that had such a high value, and so few people in the world that I consider absolute experts in this species that would actually pull the trigger on something that expensive without taking on maybe a partner in it, not financially, but just overall.
Well, there were hets that were sold into the US
right
a few years back. I think actually the very top picture on the thread here on Instagram is, I don't know if I posted it or not actually, but I was thinking about posting it. So if it is posted, it's on there, but it's the female right now swelled up. Okay. Second picture then.
Is this her?
That's her as well. Yeah. She's been swole for a while here. What's neat about blackheads, and I think one reason people might fail with them, is too small a cage. Because now they get, like, the whole building's only getting down to 77, I think. So I got the AC at right now, unless we get cold nights. And I got heat lights on them, 40-watt heat lights. No, I don't keep anything a secret, man. I try to help. The way I look at it, if everybody's successful with blackheads, I got many more people that are willing to invest and buy them. If they were as easy as ball pythons, they probably wouldn't be as expensive, but
if they wouldn't be as expensive, you'd have 100 competitors on your aisle at every show.
But if we can make them a little more doable,
right? You definitely need to make them more accessible and more doable. And I think you and Matt both, here's Matt in the show, came in. You know, Matt said, "Howdy, folks." That's Jablonski right there. You and Jablonski are both very open about the species and trying to get people to, get straight with that. So,
lost you for a sec there. That. Yeah, but no, if I can get people more convinced that they can be successful, then you're more willing to buy into them, and I'm willing to help people for sure.
Yeah,
it's just another big nasty pile of all sorts of
Nasty
blackheads.
pile of blackhead sex. Yeah, blackhead ovulation and sex. Yeah, for sure.
But
So, so you think you have het to het? Is that
Yeah.
it? Is that
Yeah,
what
for
that
sure.
is? That's from the original hets that came in.
Yeah,
From-
I
'Cause
picked up a pair of hets off a gentleman who did buy them and then had some
Okay.
issues that
much
he
were
had to
the-
deal with.
How much were the original animals imported for? What were the albinos sold? What was the price that was put on the albinos? Do you remember?
There's not been any albinos in the US.
But
They've
nobody
only
ever
come in
put
as
them.
hets.
They've only come in as hets. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was through Piet. I have the paperwork on it. Well, I know it's through Piet. Because I made the guy give me paperwork and show me everything. Because I laid out a pretty penny, but it was about half what he put into it. I just had him in a tight spot.
Not divulging what you paid. How much were the original het? Like, let's put a frame on the value of this project. If you're willing,
it's up there.
Was it like 25 grand, 50 grand for a pair of hets?
Yeah, there was some grand spent for sure.
Okay.
It's not
beat
just
around the bush.
It's not just me. Tom's in it too, and I don't have any.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I
all.
just thought so. Like, what would an albino black-headed python hit the market at? You think? Because they are incredible. For those of you that had no idea that they were albinos of this, the albino black-headed python is probably according to, I believe, what I would agree with Matt Jablonski when I actually said when he said that.
Come on, Matt. Come on.
What's that? 25,000? That's too low. I don't think pied blood prices, bro. I think your pied blood and this are way off the mark. I think pied blood prices
about hets
are too high. I think pied blood prices. Oh, is that what he? Yeah, no. He's like, I think pied blood prices. I think pied blood prices are too high, and I think this is too low for an albino, for an AML melanocephalus. You know, okay, so like he's just fucking like being funny, right? But I mean, it's all good. I mean, I know that that's a thing for you and all, but you know, I mean,
I would think they're probably going to be 50, 60 if they.
I would say at least $50,000 for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say at least $50,000 for that. I think that's
I'll tell you
absolute incredible thing there, guys. Look at that. I mean, I would venture to say what Jablonski said to me years ago. Like, I would venture to say that this is the finest single gene morph of reptile ever made, ever seen, ever. I gotta say, between this and like a super red blood python AML, and maybe like one of these new insane retics, in an AML form of an island retic or something like that, I think honestly is hands down the deal. Yeah, $50,000 is the target. That's good. That's very good. And I mean, I would see you getting that, especially from a bunch of ball python people that think they can work this project. So I'll be waiting to buy some maybe 3-year-old ones from some ball python people, some frustrated ball python people, some obese 3-year-old ones. You know,
yeah, so
that I put on a diet for like fucking like a year with like one meal.
I think the obesity thing has a lot to do with people keeping them in too small of a cage, keeping them in racks, keeping them in
feeding them up, bro. Trying to feed them to adulthood. Tell me how long it takes you to grow a black-headed python to an adult. You tell me. What's it take you?
4 to 6 years.
There you go.
What I've had.
Right. And if you fed them like a motherfucker, they'd easily get the size in 2 years. Easily.
Yeah.
And it's not a good idea, folks. It's not a good idea. Again, reptile eating reptiles. Species. Well, no, not for any species, but let's face it, some shit can be just shit shovel. Shit can be shit shovel.
How old are these ball pythons going to get that are being fed up to breeding size so quickly nowadays versus animals?
I'd be willing to bet they probably last about the same amount of time, bro.
I think they're going to get to 45, 50 years old.
I think females will probably only get to maybe 25 to 30, but that's only because they're bred consistently year after year. And I don't think that would necessarily happen in the bush. But
Joan Moore had a like 6.5 foot fucking monster female,
right,
that she bred the ever living shit out of for years, and it was over 45 years old.
Oh, there's no doubt that I had 45 to 50-year-old normal females when I sold them off at 20 years or 18 years using them, and they were already full grown adults when I got them from people that were long-term pets. I'm right there with you. But as they were long-term pets, the first 10, 12 years of their life, they weren't bred at all. Those weren't. And then, you know, of course, they were fed a rodent diet. I mean, I don't know how to expect a blackhead to live. I don't know what I expect from them.
Blackheads can be in the 20
Longevity
to 30
wise.
years.
Right. But I mean, like if you fed them bearded dragons and taipans and shit, what would they last? Right. Like, what is it, the protein to fat issue that you'd see with, like, not to compare them to a Western hognose, but to compare them to a non-rodent eating group of snakes that people breed the fuck out of, right? Western hognose come to mind.
What I'll tell you with blackheads is a lot of guys failed. A lot of guys looked for reasons they were failing, and a lot of guys talked a lot of shit. And to this day, talk a lot of shit with zero experience or positive results. And here's all the things that there's guys that are out there right now that aren't on Team Hood that are they think they know what's going on. And you know, if you know, you know. But my adult females get adult large rats, and they drop 10 to 12, 14 egg clutches. I've got a female going this year. She was produced in 04. She's out there swolled up right now, and she's doing just fine. I got a pair of 22-year-old blackheads in there that are breeding as well. So there's a lot of people that tell you feed them large rats, they're going to drop dead. And so I don't know where this idea got started. If you overfeed them and you undercage them, sure.
Yeah.
They are an active animal. They need some exercise. They need cage space. And the other thing with cage space is right now, all my females that are in the ovulation stage are pinned to the cold end of their cage. That's what I was getting to earlier, and we got sidetracked. And I don't think if you don't let them if they don't have the space to get away from the heat, I think that affects their reproduction as well.
Okay.
So people just don't, I think, undercage the animals and then blame diet and this and that for their failures. And it's like, I don't know. I'm doing a lot of stuff you guys are telling me that I can't do, or my animals are going to drop dead. And what's your success rate versus mine? Like, if I could produce more animals in 1 year than you produce in your entire career keeping them, maybe
exactly. At that point, you're an authority, bro. Like, you're a fucking authority. At that point, I'm like this guy over here asking you, what box exactly is that you use in that cage? Because I want to get that exact box of that exact Exoterra terrarium, and so that I can have that as a cage hide, just like you, because I think that's the secret. I think it's this hide.
It is a fucking
honey,
secret,
look,
bro.
it's this hide, bro. It's this hide. Baby, it's this hide. I'm telling you. This is the reason why he's so successful with those pretty snakes that are so expensive that I spent so much money on. Yeah, you know, it's really crazy to think about stupid shit like that I would be willing to do that when Tracy told me her secrets of blood python breeding. And I'm in there like, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And then I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, you dummy. You're not incubating in big fucking trash cans like Tracy, are you? You're using short styros with glass tops. You're not using big fucking stupid trash cans with glass tops. Your incubator holds 3 times what hers holds because you don't use stupid trash cans for your shit. And why would you think that this box is the exact reason why she's so successful with bloods? But to hear her version of keeping them blood and hear you talk about keeping them blackhead is very interesting. So I noticed they're in vision cages. What size cages are these said monsters? Because I would say these fuckers are probably a good 9-10 foot, right? I mean, they're decent.
No, most of mine are between 7 and 8. They're in 6 foot visions.
6 foot vision. So that's a 6x30 or a 6x24?
6x36.
6x36. Holy fuck!
The big ones, the 633s,
the monsters. Okay, yeah,
that's not a retic cage.
Right,
that should never have been a retic cage.
I mean,
undercaged the retics.
Yeah, that was undercaging. But yeah, berm cages, retic cages. If you're a smart breeder, if you're conscientious, and you don't feed your shit that much, and you deal with just fucking 25 eggs a year.
My dream with these things, I told Matt about this and what I want to try to do, and supposedly with my building before I screw it up with all these neodeshes, I've got a 50-foot length wall. I want to build some cages where I can do at least 24 feet, where I got 3 8-foot cages. I can put a trio in there, each in their own 8-foot cage.
And just open cage.
pull doors between them, so they have
Okay.
24 feet of run space, and in the wintertime, only heat one cage.
Yeah.
So they got,
You could
16
never
feet of
build an
unheated
enclosure large
cage to get
enough
away
for the
from the heat if
species
they
ever.
want.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, Matt. You can never build an enclosure large enough for this species ever. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So
My building's big enough, Matt.
Matt's saying it could be the whole fucking. Your building's pretty big, bro. So like, how big is that building?
30 by
What'd you
50.
build? 30 by 50.
Yeah.
One wide open room.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
It was already built when I got there. I just did the spray foam.
That's nice. My building's 52 by 50, but I'm broken up into a bunch of rooms at this point.
Yeah, I got it. I got it wide open, and I screwed up with the spray foam because I did a whole bunch of research about the spray foam, and
Yeah.
I was about to do it myself, and I found a competitive price. It was like an extra $1,000 for them to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, fuck, dude, do it. You're gonna do it for me, and for $1,000, yeah, I'm willing to do that. And they came in and they sprayed the whole thing out, and like the last as they're walking away, I'm like, hey, I just noticed your stuff was yellow, and the stuff I was gonna get was blue green. This stuff's not flammable, right? And he's like, oh no, it's flammable as fuck.
Oh man, yeah, it wasn't the fire retardant stuff.
No. He's like, well, you can go ahead and paint it all.
Right. Yeah. Paint it
One
with
day.
a fire retardant.
One day I'll get
paint.
another building and then
Paint it with a fire retardant paint. Yeah, that had to be done a while ago. That had to have been done the day before the day after it cured, just so that you could not move animals in there and spray that whole thing. So I did spray. I just sprayed the ceiling. I bought a wooden portable building for my lizard building, and I battened the walls, but my roof metal was sprayed. But I told my buddy that did the roof metal at the time, I was like, spray all this foam in, and then when you're done, come back and spray this paint over it all. I didn't get fire retardant shit either, I don't think, to be honest with you. I don't think it was. Fucking that thing, that whole building would burn up. But at least you had a metal building. You could have done it. But yeah, I guess that's one of those moments when you're like, damn it, the devil's in the details. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right? The devil's in the details. So, I mean, it's a decent sized building, though, 30 by 50. To what? Spray foam, and what'd you put in it for heat AC? What'd you do with that? You just want to have one big unit in there?
4.5 ton AC unit.
Just one big AC unit in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. I was trying to find another picture of the building because I saw it earlier when it was fresh and new. It didn't have anything in it. Yeah, I saw it way earlier.
I posted a picture where I drove the minivan, and it looked pretty badass.
Yeah. Right.
Minivan looks small.
Oh yeah, well, 30 by 50 on a wide open building is definitely a lot of space. Like I said, I mean, I personally hung every wall board in this building in a 52-foot by 50 building. I personally ran every wire and hooked up every outlet, so I can tell you, I know how big this fucking building is, and it's plenty big. It's plenty big enough, and it's full of shit. I'm broke and full of shit. All my shit has been converted to stuff. All my money's been converted to shit and stuff. So you just converted a bunch of your money, I assume, unless you just got some angel investor or donation with all of these. I'm going to correct you, even though you have 20 years of saying it wrong. Neo Deshe, Kansas is where the place is, and that's exactly how they say it, Neo Deshe. But yeah, Neo Desha, as I'll throw myself back to my teenage years of saying it wrong.
Neo Desha was what I was told.
Bro, I worked for a woman that was from there, and God, the first time I said Neo Desha Plastics, she said, "What the fuck did you just say?" And I said, and she said, "I say it again," and I said, "Neo Desha," and she said, "It's Neo Desha. I'm from there."
Yeah.
And you say it right or you don't get paid this week. And I'm like, okay. And I never said it the wrong way ever again. But yeah, anyway.
I actually got some of the original Glass Technics slant fronts that are the predecessor to Neo Desha.
To the boxes, right? To the boxes. The slant fronts with
not just the Neo Desha slant fronts, but the Glass Technics when they were fiberglass. From the aforementioned Joan Moore. They predate these.
They predate these, but he made them for her out of fiberglass. Was that right?
That company
was a separate company. Okay.
It was its own separate company. And when they were pushed out of business because the fiberglass was not environmentally safe or something,
right?
Neo Desha bought the patents or whatever and started making the cages.
And they molded the slant fronts the same. Okay.
With plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the Neo Deshay, the Bush herpetological. I had the Bush cage.
Let's go. Let's go bush caging.
Let's call bush
These-
caging, right? I mean,
These
like
are
the old
badass
slant
though. With that.
fronts
Have you ever seen the light on them like this?
No, I haven't seen the side light like that. It's very interesting. The side light's very cool. And
I'm excited, man.
unique, very unique. I like it. I mean, honestly, a lot of these cages are still hard to beat.
Yeah.
They're hard to beat. I mean, please.
And these I'll say, because I've had some other ones like this. These have like extra plastic in them or something. They're a little stiffer. Because somebody was telling me, "Oh, I don't know if you can stack them like that." I'm like, they've been stacked for 20 years like that for one, but also they're built a little stiffer. There's a little like an extra layer of plastic in them.
Well, and they also have the cross member in the middle, but those are 48 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, throw a whole bunch of
48
carpet
by 24 by 18s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are nice. Those are really nice. And then I mean, like
48, 28, 18.
48, 28. Weird fucking sizes, these fucks, man. I swear.
Yeah.
I swear.
There was also some 32, 28, 18s.
Yeah,
I
remember those. I remember
too.
really liking those a lot. Those weird, short, deep cages that they had, but God, they were so out of my price range back then. You know,
yeah. So we got down there, and some buddies came to help me.
So what happened? Somebody retired out or something? What's the story behind that group of cages? I'm going to pull this off the screen while I actually try to go to Facebook and find that post where you posted it.
Matt's got better details on it, or some details, and
Jablonski went with you.
What's that?
Jablonski.
Yeah, Jablonski has some details. Right. He knows something about the history. It's just that it's all I know is an old reptile place that shut down years ago.
Matt, what was that from?
I brought a 26-foot UPS truck. Jesus, no, U-Haul, and they had to cut down trees so I can get the truck in there. I mean, and to get out, we had to cut down more trees. The thing is so overgrown and it's been unattended for years. And the guy bought it as a roofer. He couldn't give a shit. He was thrilled to find out it was worth millions. All these cages, and then I just had to tell him, "Hey, buddy, that's retail pricing.
That's old technology too, bro. I mean, that's really old.
I'm buying these, and so the other guys that went to help me fill the truck, I let them get the 32s and the 24s.
Here we go. Picked up a few cages today. Yeah, it's cute. Picked up a few cages today. So how big was that truck? That truck was 26. A big fucker. 26 foot.
Yeah, it's the biggest haul they make.
The biggest U-Haul they make, and you loaded down on these cages and stuff. So hopefully you got a good deal.
50.
And they look really clean though, huh? Or is that just a picture? I mean, not the orange hatch fronts, not the old orange hatch boxes.
They didn't discolor. Like I said, it's just a better plastic quality or something. They didn't discolor. They were in we made it back with all the glass. I don't know who that is. Why'd you go to someone else's page? That's nice. That's all me.
Screw that. Shut up. There's that ego that I'm used to seeing at the shows. That's all me. Yeah, this fucking hybrid shit's all you. It's fucking mutt. Fucking mutt. I'll go mutton with you. He's fucking mutt. Yeah. Matt just lost connection. That's funny. I've been at that facility before, long time ago. I mean, where are we talking about? Long story, another time. Why are you guys so afraid? What is this, like Hank Molt's place or some shit? And
no, I don't
afraid of some shit. Like, what the fuck are y'all worried about? Like, I don't understand. Why the secrecy, dude? Like, I don't
know who it was.
Nobody gives a fuck. I mean, I just ask a question and y'all are all secret. And it makes me want to dig into it. Now you give me a mission. Now I'm gonna fucking dig into your bullshit and see what the hell's the secret. But yeah, that was a nice group of cages, bro. Like, yeah, there's no doubt at all. That was a fucking mess. That was a load. But man, he looked great. God damn, they look super clean. Motherfucker, I hope you paid him enough for all that. Whoever cleaned all these fucking things is probably like, yeah, they didn't get enough money for them fucking things after all cleaning. Yeah, but no magic erasers in the world are gonna make that orange bitch white again. I don't know what the hell kind of plastic and weird UV exposure they get. And goddamn those things. It's like he made them to fit in a truck like that too. He's
Yeah.
like, you guys give me a box truck. I'm going to show y'all a cage fits in there where we can ship them to China. When China now, dude, you ought to ship one of these fucking things to China now and have the Chinese just knock this motherfucker off, bring a container of these things in, sweep the fucking room with the old school shit. Jason, I'm telling you, send that bitch to China and bring it in. But yeah, those were good. Like they were solid. So
Yeah.
I had an old man in town called me up and retired out and donated to us a bunch of those that I gave to my friend who picked them up. And then I took the visions. I think it was like 9 4-foot visions,
Nice.
you know, something like that. So it was a great deal, you know. So
Well,
yeah,
I
Matt
felt
says,
like an
don't
ass.
worry. Don't want to overstep any boundary. I'll reach out to a guy I know. Okay. All right. We'll see. Fucking weirdos.
I
Anyway,
felt like an
you
ass though.
asked
I
what?
made a deal for 10 Vision 633s, and then this came up like that same day. I'm like, all right, dude. And I'm the type of guy, if I tell you I'm doing something, I'm doing it. Like
Mhm.
the wife tells me no. Oh well, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to come tell you my wife told me no.
I
I had to
He'll
message the
take the
guy.
punishment from her.
I had the
Then
best
tuck
guy. I'm
your
like, hey
tail.
man, I'm sorry, I can't pick up these visions from you. I got to grab the this other deal that came up. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm like, no, dude, I like seriously, I'm apologizing because I hate when people do that. So I'm like, no, I'm not that guy, man. That's not my normal routine. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'm used to it. I'm like, no, but that's not me, you know. But
Oh man, how long ago was that? Just a couple days ago?
yeah, like last week.
I wouldn't mind some Vision 633. Shoot me over the info if you still got them.
He's in Gainesville.
I
So
mean, I
yeah.
can always send some money to get them. That ain't that big of a deal. But
Yeah, he's there. I think
I
they're
wouldn't
up for sale.
mind something like that.
Too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind something like that just
I
because.
wouldn't mind
you
them
know.
either. I
But
just
yeah, yeah.
convincing my wife that I need to get 10 more cages is not going to be
Well, you got this
in the
big
card right now.
building, babe, but the building's got floor space. Yeah,
She might be listening right now too, because
that's a good
I
chance.
heard some noise in
There's
the
a good
house.
chance. Could have been some feedback. She's like, I'm getting in on this fucking shit. See what's taking this motherfucker so long. It's been 2 hours. So black-headed pythons. What? So talk about the Axanthic project. We touched on the Swiss stuff a tad. We know to send them to Jim's website for that info. Talk to me about the Axanthic stuff.
The Axanthics and the Swiss are
Oh,
definitely
and
getting tied together soon.
Wait. Is this yours?
I'm going to have to try the Axanthic and the Swiss together.
Is this yours?
Yeah.
Did you buy this?
Yeah.
Are you in this project? How do you feel about this whole world of rainbow boa mutation? Should I get into this further?
I'm
a Brazilian nut, bro. Like I'm a Brazilian crazy fan. Like I'm a huge fan. But should I
like
get into
the
this
caramel
group?
albinos. They're I don't know.
I'm
they're
with
a
this
little
fucking
boring for
snakes
me.
and craft guy. Dang, dude. What species don't you have in your room? Ball-headed pythons. He doesn't have ball-headed pythons in his room.
They're a little boring for me right now, but I think if
they're boring as fuck.
Yeah.
They're boring as the fuck. They're only cool when you're pulling babies out on the ends of your fingers. When you're pulling babies out like this, like, hey, I don't even need to have a grip to pull out my baby Brazilians. I just put my hand in the cage and I come out and my fingers look like I just came off a fucking Beetlejuice somewhere. You know, I fuck got snake fingers. Those things are so evil when they're babies, but otherwise they're pretty goddamn boring. But I mean, I've already got myself into the group a pretty decent bit. Should I continue down this rabbit hole? And this picture tells me yes, because it's the only one I see on your page anywhere.
I don't
must
chase market or anything.
No, I know you do what you like, right?
Yeah, I do what I like and let people come to me eventually, and it seems to pan out pretty well for me. I think they're beautiful albino for sure.
Yeah, interesting set of photos, like you said. The color change, the green.
Yeah.
The green, all taken within 15 minutes of each other. The green, the light phase, the feeding phase. Right?
Yeah, under light, not in light. They're
right.
Yeah, they're neat in that regard. But they're just
cool.
They don't do much. They hide in the mulch and
they just suck down a lot of money and hide in the mulch.
Yeah.
They absorbed a good crop of dollars and then hide in the mulch.
If
Well,
they kick out a
goddamn.
bunch
All
of
right.
babies, that'd be great. But
So axanthic blackheads, take me on that road. Like, what's up? I mean, I know he's crazy about it. How do you have a lot of these? You produce a lot of these?
I've got a couple from I get 66% hets, and yeah, I saw that. I got
It's
some
Becca. She says it's Becca, and fuck yes, I will. Yeah, right. Ricky gonna pop because Matt J's laughing his ass off. Right. If you sidetrack him one more time for me, Axanthic, so help me. All right, there you go. So yeah, let's talk Axanthic black-headed pythons.
Well, like I said, I don't do a morph market account, so I just bring them to the shows, and when people inquire about them, I get them information. But I got some 66% heads right now and some axanthic males available, and they're doing well for me. I got my first male I produced, or the first year I produced them, that male is finally big enough to go this year, so I threw him back against his mom, so I should have a better crop of axanthics this season. And then
Now,
his sister.
Have you brought
Did I
this
lose
into
everything?
Swiss?
Oh no, that's the next step.
Oh no, you're here. I don't know why your picture went. I don't know why your video went off. But there you go. You're back. You're back.
You're tired of my
No,
shit.
I didn't. I did not at all. I didn't at all. I didn't. My mouse was on the other screen, bro. My hand was on something, not my mouse. Not that either. Not my mouse or my bird. So you're good. But yeah, no. Have you bred?
I want to get him
have you
into the
bred
Swiss,
axanthics
though.
in a Swiss? Because it seems like the contrast would just be like smoking. Like that's what I really want. Those yellow belly looking blackheads are insane too. The high orange flames. That's the Swiss line, Jonathan. That's what we were talking about. Those yellow belly looking blackheads. And for sure, they definitely are yellow belly looking blackheads. They're on fire with the flames and all that stuff. And I could just imagine what that would translate into the axanthic line if you were to do such a thing. And I think it should be done. Yeah.
I was chasing the axanthics this season.
Beautiful.
And the Swiss line is going to get mixed in probably next season.
Wow.
For some 100% hets. I just didn't do it this year.
Hybrids. They're naturally occurring. You sucked on that same pipe. Blacktail Crebos, messed with them a whole lot.
Well, yeah.
Matt, can you hook up a friend of mine? Look at you guys doing all this in business in the private. No, Jason Hood can hook you up.
Matt don't have none.
Matt's don't have anything. Matt's got Jablonski line. Right? That's the nice name. Jablonski line. At least they're not calling it like Las Vegas strain. It's not named after the fucking town you live in because they don't even want to put your name on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, these yellow belly ball looking black-headed pythons, bro, for sure. Unbelievable Swiss line babies. Those things are incredible. If that doesn't end your fucking day after seeing what you need to put into albino and what you need to put into axanthic, is there a hypomelanism in blackheads too?
Yeah,
have you seen hypo blackheads? Haven't you? Could make ghost blackheads, bro. Ghost blackheads would be so fucking sick.
The Swiss line has something in them. Jordan Parrott produced some really amazing animals. If you haven't seen his stuff, he's got ridiculous blackheads that he produced. Ironically, Keith McPeat has offspring from him that he's probably trying to breed this season that he ended up with through a third party. But between the two of them, they're going to produce some nice stuff. Matt,
Matt J Fugly BHPS blackheaded pythons. That's so sad, bro. I didn't say that. I said Jablonski line. I didn't say that we're ugly. I said that I loved mine until I sold them for a bunch of money, a bunch more money than I probably should have got for them. And you know what? I'm happy that I had a chance to raise some snakes from my boy Matt, and it made me happy to have them for all the years I have them. So I have not at once knocked that fugly blackhead. And look, there you go. Savage says, I think your fugly blackheads would look cool in axanthic. What's she gonna call them? Like fucking stonewashed axanthic blackheads. Give them a fancy fucking name. And people would walking by them in the show are gonna be like, oh Jesus, look at that shit. Had fucking ball python people now naming them blackheaded pythons and stuff. God damn, what's the world coming to? Right?
His at least changed color eventually.
Is at least change color eventually.
They get those color changes if you hold on to them long enough.
Yeah, right. I didn't hold them on to them long enough. I mean, no, I did love my black-headed pythons. I don't care why. I don't care what they looked like. I really don't give a shit. I'm serious, Matt. I absolutely agree that they are a king species. They are one of my favorite species. I absolutely think that's it. Yeah, fugly axanthics. That's what she's gonna call them. She's gonna call them that. She's gonna call them Mad J. She's gonna call them Mad Jablonski axanthics. Is what she's gonna call them. Jablonski line. Monkey frog axanthics. There you go. Like I say, monkey frog Matt, bro. You'll never live it down. It's just how I met you. I met you like the same year this guy started going to a reptile show. And you know, look at this. Look at this little house snake.
No, it's a pinewood snake.
Oh, really? Looks like a
Yeah,
house
it's under
snake. God damn. All right. Well, I see it now. I don't read. I just try to identify by clicking on it.
That was out in the yard.
There you go. Albino straight gopher snakes. So yeah, axanthic blackhead. Becca, are you satisfied? Just get with it. Like him or Jim or whatever. I mean, that's it. He's got stuff ready to go. And I think that you guys all should get into this species for sure if you really want to have an experience. Like you would have such an experience with black-headed pythons. Not Womas, black-headed pythons. And I'm kind of with Matt. I've never seen an ugly black-headed python. I do love them all. That's it. She says I'll be messaging him, so hopefully you'll get that message since Matt has whatever priced himself out.
Yeah, the blackheads don't do that that nasty Woma chew on your face.
Oh no, Womas are like California king snakes from Australia, bro. I mean, they're really not all that different than cow kings of Australia. But what about the lines of axanthics? Talk about the lines of axanthics so that she can have how about that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know how many lines are in axanthic. It's strange that there were no axanthics and there was 3 lines of axanthics a few years later.
All of a sudden, bing, bang, boom. Yeah. So ultimately, they're probably all the same line of axanthic that all popped up at the same time. From
it would be interesting to see exactly how there's multiples.
Beautiful hypobrettles you have. Who'd this come from?
Casey Cannon.
Casey Cannon. Beautiful. That's a gorgeous Brettles.
And Casey has the business
and the lovely tame. What's Casey's business name?
Cannon Fire Reptiles that he doesn't use.
Cannon
that's
Fire.
An awesome fucking business name.
Great
Why
name.
don't you use that?
Cannon Fire Reptiles. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you should have him on the show. What's he do? Just Morelia?
He does all sorts of stuff, and he has a hookup with what's the guy's name up in Canada?
Patterson.
Yeah.
Don?
Yeah.
I'd like to have Don Patterson on this podcast. I think Don would do it. Matt Jablonski. Let's work on Don Patterson and get him on this podcast. Help me. You gotta have talked to him before.
Casey occasionally all of a sudden has 30 ring pythons out of nowhere and then sells them all off.
Yeah, right. Casey, your friend Casey Cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where was that? Was that a ring picture I saw?
I don't
Oh no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. I was running through pictures and I saw these Halloween Hondurans, these aberrant Hondurans, and I thought they were fucked up ring pythons, right? And don't they look so much like it? They look like aberrant rings. But I was just zipping through the pictures.
They're a little nicer than rings.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. They'll stay a little nicer than rings. For sure.
No, I mean just personality wise.
Rings rings are fucking evil. yeah. No, they're special. They're special. You know, Don very well. Yeah, but I'll reach out to Eric Kreider. I think Kreider is probably my closest to the West Coast old schools. Maybe like I said on the episode not to be mentioned. I think that I think really the West Coast old schoolers like our other species so much, like Ernie Wagner, Doug Price, Casey Lazick. Got to get those dudes before they're no longer, because they were pivotal. Like Casey's stories about this species, about bringing blackheads or working with black-headed pythons for the first time and discovering who had them and where they had them was such an awesome story. I think we really are missing out a lot from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again, pester Mr. Lazick, and I'm going to send him some cuts from this show, bro. And, or at least some timestamps of where to log in to start listening to, Gary Sipperly would be great. To start listening into these type of things. So where maybe we can influence him to come on and straighten up some of the history that goes beyond, like, I know Jim's got a good history on it, or maybe to touch on Jim's history some with Jim, and then try to get Casey on to talk about it. You know what I mean? To where we really have, because I really do think that the history of this particular group, this particular species, is so spectacular. From what I was hearing of it from him and from you and from Jim.
Yeah, I don't try to get into the history because I don't know it, and it's
right.
I mean, again, there's a lot of people that like to talk about things they don't truly know about, and I try not to do that if I can help it.
Well, sure, and that's admirable, right? But I mean, who wouldn't want to hear it from Casey, right? Like who doesn't want to hear it from the horse's mouth, really directly? And I think at least before Alzheimer's sets in and shit starts getting weird, like it's like, oh yeah, we went down to Mexico and this guy came up to the car with a black-headed python, and I'm like, no, that's not how it went, bro. That's not how it went. Who are you, by the way? No, I'm not. I don't need to go that late. And that's the thing about our hobby, man, is the younger, like I said earlier in the show, the younger people, I don't think they understand just how young this thing is. And like, you and I learned from are the originals. Right.
I'm definitely still a baby in the hobby. And then but there's like I had somebody, not recently, about a year ago, I posted up one of my sulfurous, and the guy's telling me, I hadn't posted about him in a while. And the guy tells me, like, hey, you should contact this guy. He knows everything about those. I'm like, really? Okay, cool. That's my customer that only has them because I'm producing them. But thanks for the tip, guy. But that's the hobby nowadays, is these kids they only know what they know from the last 5 minutes or the last 2 years. And they don't have any history.
Well, if it's not on YouTube, they don't have any history behind that, And
there's guys that, like with sulfurous on YouTube, I see guys posting wild caught imports, and that's just a problem with the hobby in general. Is too many people get like cred for buying an import. Like, you didn't do shit with it, you didn't raise it, you don't know anything about it. You've had it 6 months.
Well, that was like back in the day with beauty snakes. Well, no, I'm just saying my experience with it was with like the Taiwanese and the blue beauty snakes. And remember when they came in heavily wild caught, and there was only a few of us in the country that were really trying to breed them. And then we'd have these captive bred babies, and you bring them to a show and people would just shit all over your value.
Yeah.
Right. Like they just shit on your value because you're like, oh, I'll give you 75. Fuck you. You know how much work it was to bring any 10-year rat snake to market, dude? That was a lot of fucking work. That was a lot of raising and a lot of vet bills and shit. Like getting those imported things, or like what you talk about with these bird snakes.
We got the guy down here in Florida that just got himself popped for whatever, but he's like a semi-celebrity to certain people, and the guy can't sex a snake properly, doesn't touch any of the animals, he flips it from another importer, but people want to raise him up like he's somebody.
Guy got popped. Who are we talking about? It's all right. I mean, fucking 400 people listen to this, but I mean, we're not talking about it negatively. Like, I mean, if he got in trouble, it's in the news, right? Like I could Google it, right? So like, ultimately it's not like you're letting the cat out of the bag or anything. So like, no,
but just the idea that people who are just flipping like when I started out back in the day, I was going down to Mario and flipping animals that I bought from him, thinking I was a big shot. Then I saw the death rate on the animals, and I backed everything up 100% to all the pet stores. They all love
for sure, right? Because like as soon as you were dealing with Zoological Imports 2000, you were dealing with pretty much the bottom of the barrel of importing. Like when
the South American stuff he got,
the South American stuff here was great. Yeah, it was great. The stuff he had coming out of Colombia was fabulous. Yeah, the stuff that stuff was great. But at the same time, right? Like Jonathan Sell says, spit it out. Your tongue's already wet. I mean, dude, I'd love to have Mario on this fucking show, or at least Mike Barrera to talk about the Mario days of stuff. But Mario's connections in Colombian exports was incredible. But I was also the ones taking his boas from him, the boas.
Yeah,
that
I
were
mean, I was in there when
prematurely born.
Indo came in and they're well, what's this? And then, oh, this is a Biak, and what's this one look like? And they're all pulling them out of the same bag, and it's all these
they're
green.
just
People talk
typing
about
them.
green tree more or localities. It's
Oh,
like
yeah, you couldn't believe that.
no, I saw too much to ever go by green tree localities. But no, my point being, like, I'd go there and I'd buy those animals and I'd flip them, but I saw the death rate. I saw what I would lose at my house. And at some point, you got to take a moral stand that, hey, that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. But people raise those individuals up as celebrities,
Right.
like, because they constantly have something. Yeah, they constantly have something because they bought it yesterday and they sold it today. Like, they don't even put time into the animal. They're not trying to get them healthy. Oh, you got a Crebo from them? Great. Is it the right sex? Is it alive?
Right, exactly. You'd have been great if you got the right sex, if you'd have got the right, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's all the adult shortcuts they want. They don't want to raise babies up because that's going to take time, and they can't get their pictures posted of.
He said, Sean, are you coming to Wayne Hill's spring show in Easter Sunday in Jacksonville? I'm like, yes, sir, I am. I will meet you, Mario. I will meet you there. I have some boa constrictor for you. And I'm like, yes, sir. Same thing. Scariest guy I ever met. Scariest guy I ever knew. Hands down,
not
scariest
my experience
dude
at all.
No, not my experience, bro. My experience with him is above board. My experience, he is not the reason I'm in this wheelchair. I did not say anything negative about him. I had a wonderful experience with him, but I'm very wise to who he is and what his past is. So therefore, I never, ever, ever treated him with anything less than the top level of respect. And he never showed me anything other than the top level of respect right back. And I bet your young life and experience was exactly that. However, would you ever question. Would you ever work in his operation and steal over $10,000 worth of shipping bills from him, shipping your own shit for your company on his bill and not paying him back for it? Would you do that to Scarface's influence? But would you do that ever?
It's funny you say this, because I was about to say, so I was going down there regularly buying stuff, and I thought I was such a baller the day I was able to count out $1,000 in $20 bills to this man.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like, boom, 1,000. I finally made it. I'm like, yeah, I'm big time, because I had heard stories.
Oh, right.
But when I met him in person,
wasn't like you.
He was so down to earth, so sweet, so respectful, so nice. Would take time to talk about the animals. He loves the animals. He's truly an animal guy.
Truly an animal guy, but straight business. As long as business is straight business, right?
But I didn't even get that from him. I was so small time going in there with my $200 and $300 purchases.
Yeah, I understand.
He actually spent time talking to me, which is just bizarre.
That's awesome. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, but understanding who he was and what money he was coming from.
Right.
And here I am dropping $300, $500. And I remember I dropped that $1,000, and then the next trip down there, I was so excited because I'm going to be at like $1,500 because I'm turning and burning, flipping, getting my animals. I'm coming back in, and we're waiting for him to come down because whatever we brought to the table at checkout, it down for us. I don't know why, but it was always whatever anybody else in the building checked us out at, he would knock another 20-30%.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he just kind of knew we were kids and we were dumb, and he was just cool. He was just a nice guy, and we were always, like you said, yes sir, no sir, always respectful.
Yeah,
he was always the same way back. And we're waiting for him, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody kept trying to check us out to get us out of the building, and then I'm hearing that motherfucker, boom, and the building kind of like shook, and it's like this growling noise, and we peek our head out the door, and he's at the end of the building with a baseball bat just smashing the side of the building, screaming about somebody trying to rob him, someone stealing from him. And I was like, oh my, like it was a whole different animal was unleashed.
Yeah, well, so like how I met him was somebody used one of his snakes in that building. They had gone there and seen the albino ball python, my very first albino ball python. They'd gone there and seen it, and they took photographs of someone else's albino ball python and listed it for sale on King Snake. Their plan was to go to zoological. This is fucking crazy, bro. Their plan was, knowing who Mario, God, they must have known, right, who Mario was. Like, how did you get around there and not know who the fuck he was, right? Everybody had to know who the fuck
I didn't
he was.
believe it.
So wait, you didn't believe it. Okay, you didn't believe it. What you believe it the fuck now? You definitely believe it as a grown-up. Now you're like, yeah, that was no shit. He had to be coming.
I believed it that day. I didn't believe it until that day.
Okay, you didn't tell you saw him swinging
Until
that
I saw
bat,
him,
man.
Yeah.
So
and
you saw what? Like a 55-year-old Cuban man cracking a bat on a metal building, being angry. Yeah, imagine he was fucking scary.
We took whatever animals we had, whatever price they came up with, paid it, ran out the front of the building,
gone, right?
jumped in the car, and we're like, we're trying to not look, but we have to look, and we're like, I don't want to see him killing somebody, but is that we're witnesses? Is he killing somebody? And we kept trying to. Like, it was such a weird vibe.
Nah, he was just mad, but now you could ask Barrera about that, because it's about the time Mikey worked for him, because Mikey worked for him for years, right?
Yeah,
Mikey worked for him for years.
Mikey was one of the guys that was calling out different names for different green tree locations back in the day.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Because Mikey worked for him, and then his son worked for him. Junior worked for him. And I used to deal with Junior all the time. So
he posted, Mike posted a picture of himself, because I moved out of state for a decade, lost touch with everybody down here. And he posted a picture of himself from back in the day. And I was like, oh,
that's you.
That fucking kid.
I remember you. That fucking kid. He was tall and lanky and dorky.
Yeah.
He was the tall, lanky, dorky.
Well,
is he Cuban or Puerto Rican? I don't know what he is. But yeah, I love Mike. Mike's one of my older friends from chat rooms and shit with other species. Mike Barrera owns Snakes at Sunset, guys. That's the company that Amir started from yellowbellyball.com, who now owns XYZ Reptiles. So yeah, everybody kind of spins off and does their own thing after a while. But dude, real quick, to finish that up for you. So the guy's gonna call. I'm gonna call on the phone from the ad on King Snake, and I'm gonna pay the checkout person $4,000, and they're gonna send me that ball python they have at Zoological, and they're gonna give this douchebag $500 for finding a buyer at $4,000, because they only wanted $3,500 for the animal. Okay. So he's basically just flipping it, not even owning it.
Sounds like someone else we were just talking about.
Douglas Beard calls me up that morning. It's a Saturday morning. My phone rang at like 7 a.m. Doug Beard calls me up and says, Sean, are you calling somebody today about a ball python on King Snake? Yep. I was at a reptile show, and this guy was bragging about you buying the snake, and this is what's actually happening. And he told me the story of the albino ball. And he's like, now listen, I'm not telling you this to sell you a snake, but if you want, I will do you, because he knew I was 21 years old, bro. I was young. And I was like going out on a limb buying this fucking albino ball python for $3,000, $3,500 to $4,000. Doug said, if you want one from me, I'm going to hatch one in a month. And I'm only going to charge you $3,000 for it, because I don't want to see you taken advantage of. And that's exactly what I did. I bought my first albino ball for $3,000 from Doug Beard in 2001. But that one albino, Jason, was at Zoological, and dude was trying to rip me off. And Doug told me about it. And when he called me at like 9 and 10 a.m., he called me and he asked me about that snake. And he's like, listen, he said, I'm calling you on the phone to get the payment. I said, I want to talk to the guy who owns the business so I can get his permission to give him my credit card for $4,000. Knowing full and well I wasn't buying the snake, and I was about to tell the owner what he was going to do. I did not know Mario, bro. Doug didn't tell me who the fuck Mario was. Yeah. Doug's like, call me back after you talk to them and let me know what happens, and we'll do a deal. So I guess he was going to tell me after I talked to fucking Scarface's company that it was Scarface's company, motherfucker. But yeah, so I talked to Mario on the phone, Jason, and he straight up is just like, he said, what? And I sent him the photo, and he looked in his email box, and he said, Sean, this is not the animal that I have here. This is not the same snake. And I said, that's what I was told, that there wasn't the same snake, bro, that he was lying to me. And he said, I don't know, but hold on a minute. And he cuffs over the phone. And I hear him say, get this motherfucker out of my face, but don't let him leave. or whatever, some shit like that. Get him out of my face. Don't let him leave. Something along those lines. And honestly, dude, it scared the shit out of me. And after that, I called back Doug and I was like, bro, he sounded pretty mad. And he was like, you ever seen Scarface? And I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me, bro. And then King Smith, my friend down the street, King used to work at the shed for Louis and Balladucci back in the day, which was across the street from Mario before he got arrested the first, like with the DEA agent and shit. So like they knew him from the perspective of Scarface, the movie, like when he had the desk with the cocaine on it and all that stuff. And again, in the episode that shall not be mentioned, he talks about doing cocaine off a desk with Mario in Daytona in Mario's room that very year that Mario was one of those years you were buying from him. So honestly, I used to get some pretty impressive wild caught stuff from him, but the most memorable stuff I would get, and I was scrutinized for taking it, was baby boas that were premature, that we know why, dude. I'm talking like ladder-tailed Guyanans and Suriname babies that were shipped from South America. Like, dude, these animals were aborted. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like they were cut open and cut out of females, and they were almost ready to be laid, and they were old enough to live and breathe air when they were like, oops. And that was that. And he brought them in anyway. And he was like, will you work with these? And I was like, bro, if you're going to not keep doing this, like calling me for this type of shit, yeah, I'll work with these. And I did it one time, Jason. I worked with an entire litter of what I assumed and what, oh man, I mean, there are so many people in South Florida calling me and telling me what the real deal was with those boas. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, you know what those boas are? You know where those boas came from? And I'm like, yes, but what do you want me to do? Throw them in the trash can? I'm not encouraging him to do this, but I mean, I'm an animal guy, right? And who wants to see that type of shit die?
Yeah,
but
I never saw anything like that go down. I mean, I was probably there 10, 12 times in total.
Yeah, this was in 01 at the very, I think in the end of it, huh? He didn't stick around that long, did he? How long? When did he close up?
Had to be 04, 05.
04 or 05 he closed up. Yeah, that's probably about right. And he shut it down.
Somewhere in that range.
It wasn't the same market as it was back in the day.
Yeah, but he was always, every time I went down there, he was always, like I said, good to me, except for that one. Then we didn't go back for 6 months because we didn't know if we were near witnesses.
You're
to
welcome
or
not. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what King said back in the day when he was young and he was working across the street before he was arrested and went away. He said, bro, there was a certain spot you went to in the facility and you didn't go past that point. He was like, there was an area with animals and there was an area that didn't necessarily have a lot of safety to it. And as long as you kept your head down, you didn't look in that direction when the door opened and all that type of thing, you were pretty much all right. And I was just like, did he really have a mountain of cocaine on the desk like in the movie? And he's like, yep, just like in the movie.
I met him post prison, so I didn't get to see any of that stuff.
Well, apparently, if you'd have met him in Daytona in his room in 2002, it'd have been a fucking pile of cocaine on the desk. Yeah. And just was the way he rolled, bro. But I mean, Mario is a legend. So if all you guys are like, who the fuck are they talking about? Go look at Tiger King episode number 2. The entire episode is about him. That's about as close as of a deep dive into Mario as you're going to get. Other than Scarface, which I think is very loose. But I think Mike's stories are some great stories. Mikey has some fabulous stories about Mario, especially about senior citizen Mario losing his temper. Yeah, Mikey knows that shit. Mikey's like, bro, you ain't never seen shit till you seen a fucking 65-year-old Cuban man peel his shirt off like he's 22. I'm like, yeah, really? And he was like, bro, he peeled his shirt off with one hand. He had a machete in the other hand. By the time the machete was out, his one hand went on his desk and he jumped over his fucking desk. And then by the time we got to him, he had to do it against the wall by his throat with the knife. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And he was like, yeah, bro, the guy stole fucking $10,000 worth of shipments from the company. Like the dude literally was running shipping bills through the company and just didn't pay him. And was just like,
I wonder if that was the same day he freaked the fuck out.
It could have been. Could have been, bro. I mean, it was like $10,000 or $12,000 and he lost his fucking shit. We'll have to ask Mikey B about that. I think Mikey's probably the only person that could tell us the honest answer to that. Because I'm sure he doesn't fucking remember, even if we did get him on the horn to answer for that.
Yeah.
You know, Mikey probably
I don't
know.
remember
was
who was
mad
checking
as
me out
hell.
that day, if it was Mike or not, but I don't even know if
Mike
Mike
said him
recognizes
and
me.
Junior were in the office with him, and he's like, bro, it took me and his son, and both of them were in there like mid to late 20s at the time, mid 20s,
Yeah.
no, early 20s, maybe late teens, but they were big enough, right? He's like, it took me and Junior everything to hold that motherfucker back. And I'm like, wow, that's fucking impressive, man. That dude's got some steam. I was like, I never wanted to fuck with Mario at all. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. Absolutely. Anything I can do for you in the
Again
future,
or something.
you know?
There you go.
Yeah. That's it, bro. That's it. So awesome, man. This has been a very cool trip down multi-species and memory lanes with you. It's been a fun night. Hopefully you had a good time tonight.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. And we can round it out because we've got plenty of material now, and we're ripping on the 3 hours. It seems my shows run about 3 hours to dig in to the real deep part of a person and what they do. So I don't have to ask you back again unless we do like a species spotlight type show. I would love to do species spotlight type shows. I think that could be a wonderful edge for a future. I think it could be.
Let me kick out an albino ball python, albino blackhead this year for you.
Yeah,
and
an
have me back
albino
on.
BHP. Oh no, I mean we can do it. We can just do a show about the puffing shit because I think that stuff is tremendous. I couldn't be a bigger fan of it. I'm coming to give you some money today or tomorrow, whenever you want to do it. For sure. You guys check out this gentleman here, Jason Hood, Snakes Unlimited. Snakes Unlimited on Instagram. He does update his Instagram. I'm here to tell you there is all kinds of eye candy, not just snake. Look, there's meat eye candy on here as well. But there's lots of snake eye candy, lizards as well. Blue tongue skink slick, blood pythons, Brazilian rainbow boas, albino Darwin carpet pythons, blue tongue skink. I'm sorry.
Look on the stack of delis.
Tegu morphs. This stack of delis. Look at this treacherous amount of money. This is how this gentleman is paying his wonderful mortgage. This is what I should be successfully doing still more of is species you guys love to buy from me and only me. This is amazing. Jason,
there's a few not blackheads on there.
Yeah, no, I see the Spelotes. I see the gopher snakes, the Pituophis, and all that stuff. Yeah,
every year before the either Tinley or Daytona, I post a picture like that, and every year there's somebody from Europe that tells me that wouldn't be legal in Europe.
Yeah, that wouldn't be legal in Europe. That wouldn't be legal in Europe. Dumerals, boas, and deli cups. God, what if you had those today? This is from last year. You should have kept those Dumerals, man. That shit's gold. I hope I have Dumeral boas this year. Jesus.
Xanthics
I have
for somebody.
Ancient pair. Huh?
There's an Xanthic sitting there for somebody.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yep. So look, check him out. Snakes Unlimited _ Jason Hood on Instagram. Jason Hood on Facebook. You can check out his for sale stuff at shows when you see him. But otherwise, hit him up because the .com is not reachable. But it was reachable up till yesterday for some reason. Unless it's hold on. Is it the new non-support of Flash, maybe? Was I on your website?
My wife updated my webpage about a decade ago, and it hasn't been updated since.
Well, I don't know what happened to it between yesterday and today because it worked on my machine unless I'm using it on an old machine and all that sort of stuff. So, yes, indeed. Here we go. Thanks again for sharing, guys. Jason, Sean, everyone, good night. Thank you, PCF Funny Royals. Fuck, man, need to have you on here too to talk about old school stuff. Why don't we talk about a boa episode? Boa Republic, Alex from Boa Republic, old school name, been around for a long time, as long as Jason and I have been in the scene. Always thank you, Jeff Byers, for coming into the chat. You're always a great person to have in when we're talking about deep diving stuff. Jonathan Sell, you're welcome. It's been a great show. Look, if you guys missed the show from last Tuesday's Off Topic Tuesday, was on Isopods, okay? Ben Quintana from isopod.com, and we reviewed some of the coolest bugs in the world on that fucking podcast. You need to go and check out last week's Off Topic Tuesday. with Ben Quintana. This Friday, I have coming up a show with this giant gentleman that I had noticed came into the chat earlier. Big E, Ebony and Ivory. Bro, I changed your logo and you hadn't changed your logo yet on your tag here. You need to change your damn logo to the new logo. So you match the show this Friday. So get on it. Change your avatars. So he does have a new logo. I don't know. It looks like one of these ones that one of these simplicity guys like did, you know, where it's the minimalist design of a logo. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. But I definitely want to hear more about what he's got to say about ball pythons and stuff. So that's going to be Bullshit After Dark. Then next Tuesday, Jason, you're into Morelia, right? I mean, you remember Jason, the name Jason Balin? I got another Jason coming up.
Yeah.
Jason Balin is on next Tuesday.
We're good Tinley buddies.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
He's such a quiet guy. He seemed, I'm like, who is that guy over there? That's very quiet. That some people know, but some people don't, and most people don't. And I think I asked Russ Gurley, and Russ Gurley was like, yeah, it's Jason Balin. And I'm like tiger carpet python Jason Balin? And he's like, exactly. And I said, no way. He'd introduced me. And he introduced me to Jason Balin. And so we got to chatting. And it turns out that Jason Balin is next week's guest on the Bullshit Off Topic Tuesday. So cool. Let's welcome that. Ryan Goofballs, awesome. Good to have you. Serpentine, good to have you again. This man right here, Dennis McNamara. We all know Dennis. Dennis says, great episode, fellas. Dennis, always a pleasure having you listening in to the Bullshit Off Topic Tuesday. And hopefully we can book a show sometime soon, maybe in March, maybe something like that. I'd love to talk to Dennis. So anything else you have to add tonight, Jason? Any other way to reach you or give you money or, you know, buy your shit?
No, I'm pretty easy. Facebook and Instagram. I'm there.
What's your next show?
I don't know, man.
Tinley?
I hate to do Repticons, but I might do a Repticon and then probably Daytona.
Okay.
No,
you don't do Tinley?
The spring Tinley, unless I have it up my animal output's just not the amount of animals I can bring there isn't worth the risk of getting there in the springtime. You know, it's just the weather and trying to book
the weather. That's also a very long transit. It's a very long transit for animals. It's a very long transit for you to drive it, and also you're leaving your facility. Right. You're leaving your facility in the potentially threatening time as well for cold snaps and things like that. So yeah, I don't envy you there in having to deal with that long trip from South Florida up to
hopefully next year I'll have enough animals this season. I can because now I can't book my Tinley fall table until this show ends. You know, they wait till the end of Tinley spring until they let you book fall.
Right.
So I'm in the lurch for that, hoping I can get a damn table or three.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be a tough type. But now listen, I mean, it's got to be something
up there though. That made it easy. I used to just live up there and be an hour and a half away.
So when did you move down south of Florida?
About 6 years ago or so.
Okay. And you were where?
I was in Chicago.
And you were in Chicago.
I met you through Cindy
Well, I remember meeting you through Cindy and stuff. But I mean, I remember because Cindy introduced me to so many people too over the years, you know, PH Faust, the devil of Kingsnake.com, the demon of Kingsnake.
Drunkenly introducing you to people at Tinley?
Drunkenly introducing me to people at Tinley. Bro, like she has been like, I want you to meet this guy. I love him so much. And I mean, you can't beat Cindy for being, you know, on point for that kind of shit. She's going through some stuff herself and with her dude right now, health issues and otherwise, you know, things. So thoughts and hopes and prayers and such with Cindy Steinley, or however the hell you say her last name, Steinel, however you say it. I don't have any idea. But yeah, so, you know, Cindy, we love you and we wouldn't know each other. We would totally know each other, but we wouldn't know each other without you as intimately as we do. So thank you. And thanks again, bro, for doing the show.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, man, we'll get you back on. So hang tight with me just a minute. I'm gonna get these guys out and a couple of minutes with you after the fact, and we'll all say our good nights. All right. Well, good to have you on. Thanks again. All right, everybody, that was Jason Hood and a deep dive into some species that you had no idea existed on this earth. And then I'm so happy that I was able to bring you here tonight with this gentleman. So be sure and check him out again. Instagram.com/snakesunlimited_Jason Hood. Exactly how it is spelled. There are no catches there. There's no E on the end of Hood. It's exactly like Antoine Hood, as he said, my cousin or something, in the chats on Facebook. And I made a comment too. But yeah, anyway, I won't repeat it. Matt J, good to have you here tonight. Jonathan Sell Reptiles. Always nice to see Jonathan Sell's Reptiles, because that is his real last name, Jonathan Sell. So yeah, absolutely. That's another one of those names like Cannon Fire Reptiles, but this motherfucker here is using the hell out of it. Jonathan Sell Reptiles. Yeah, he's using the absolute fuck out of it. There's no stone unturned from him. So, guys, I hope to see you Friday night for Big E. I hope it's amazing. I think it's going to be outstanding. I think we're going to have so much fun talking to him. I think it's going to be, incredible. So Friday night, I believe 7 is the time. If I'm not mistaken, I should go on YouTube and check. I'm pretty sure we didn't schedule it off time. Big Matt from Ebony and Ivory Reptiles. Let me go over there real quick to my channel and be sure. Yeah, and there's the new logo. So in case you want to see the new logo, I will show you the new logo. Let me present this screen. So yeah, there you go. There's his new logo, the new E&I. The eyes kind of stuck off in the shadows, bro. Sorry about that. But yeah, definitely hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Thank you a lot for joining in. And if you want to hear the before and the after, which is about what I'm about to record right now, listen to the audio only version of Ballsh Podcast. I'm uploading more every week. Thank you very much. I will catch up eventually, but I was trying to get more subscribes. Hit the subscribe button and I'll upload more shit. Good night, everybody. I hope you've had a good time listening to us talk about all this fun stuff. Take it easy.